Hello everybody, my name is Xaphan, and welcome back to some more Everlasting Summer. Last time we did Slavia's good and bad endings, but today we are going to do Lena's. Yes, the quiet, pigtail, purple-haired girl. We're going to be doing her endings. Oh, owl's up there. Oh, I didn't notice the owl being up there before. So, I don't know, again, I don't know how much of it is going to be different. I don't know how the endings are going to go, but I'm very excited. I guess I'll reply to Slavia. And on the start of day one, it starts with Lena, it starts at night. Nighttime of day one, where we praise the book. Okay, yes, attempt to take the cutlet. Bloody body, bloody da. Here we go. We praise the book. And I've already read all this. If you guys want to hear it, it's back in the very first episode. I think anyway. First or second or something like that. So it's day 2. Alright, so I gotta go everywhere. Well, that's good. That's okay. Infirmary. And then library. Oh, Lena was there as well. I'll go get the cards with Slavia, because she knows where the cards are. Do not bet with Alyssa. And then we have to skip the tutorial. Looks like now we're getting somewhere. Oh god. Now during the round, blah 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 blah, and skip tournament, lose against Lena? Yeah, lose against Lena. And we gotta go to the... Oh, this is different. Oh, yeah, this is different. Oh well, okay, here we go. Go to the sports field, which is football. I wanted to get away. How could I ever lose in the first round? There was no excuse for me. The sports ground seemed to be the best place to go to be alone at the moment. Who would think about playing soccer in the evening? I sat down on a bench near the pitch and started to think about what had happened. Suddenly, from the volleyball field side, I started hearing sounds that seemed to me like sounds of rasping or whistling. Turning, I saw someone desperately swinging his hand. Who was he gesturing to? To my astonishment, it was Lena. Lena is a he. She was throwing the shuttlecock up in the air and attempted to strike it with the raquet. However, to be really honest, she sucked at badminton. I was just watching for a while, but then decided to go up to her. I went around the volleyball court and got inside so that she could see me. Lena was as timid as a deer, so I'd rather not repeat previous mistakes. Ah! She's in sports uniform! Hi. She glanced at me and immediately hid the racket and the shuttlecock behind her. You like badminton?
Not really.
I see you're not really getting it. Maybe you want some help? To tell the truth, I was not very good at badminton either, but just like any other child, I used to play it from time to time. Let me show you.
Thank you.
She blushed. Of course she would, I'm amazing.
I want to join the badminton team, but I don't see it happening, really. I wouldn't even try out today, but...
She looked up at me.
I never had any luck at cards, but it seemed like I was on fire today, so I thought it could be the same with badminton.
After these words, I realized that losing to Lena is doubly upsetting. I would never think of you as being so keen on sports. She blushed again. Oh, excuse me. Come on, let me show you. I took the racket, threw the shuttlecock up in the air, and struck it with such strength that it flew over the fence and got lost among the trees. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, didn't expect that from myself.
Never mind. Although, it was the last one.
The last one? Let's go get it.
We'd better not. There is... in the forest?
What's in there, a goblin? I laughed out loud.
Maybe.
It seemed like I was the only one joking around. There is no one to be afraid of. Come on.
Well, if you're with me.
We went out of the sports ground and I started to inspect the trees. All of a sudden, the screech of an owl pierced the night. Ah, ha, ha, ha. We have a scene. Lena got so scared that she seized me with both hands, giving me something like a hug. The strong grip was a bit awkward. To feel a girl's body and its warmth so close to me, I was filled with tenderness. I had a deep desire to protect her and to guard her from anyone, even if it's only an owl or another night bird. Well, that was quick! He's already in love! My only wish was to let this embrace last forever. However, all good things must come to an end sooner or later. After a while, I realized that it was an owlet who was screeching on a branch next to us, who was holding our shuttlecock tightly. Is that what you were so scared of?
Uh-huh.
Take a look, it isn't scary at all. Lena looked out from behind my back.
You're right. Not scary at all.
Hey, wait a second. I gently got out of her hug and came closer to the owlet. At first it seemed that it'd get frightened and fly away, dropping the shuttlecock. But the owlet was still perching there. I succeeded in grasping the shuttlecock and carefully taking it from the bird. Hey, look, it's almost tame. Would you like to pet it?
Maybe some other time?
I handed the shuttlecock to Lena.
Thank you.
She smiled gently.
I have to go.
Good luck at badminton. Lena smiled again and hurried away to the camp. How sweet can a girl get? Maybe really sweet. For the first time today, I finally felt how tired I was and had to skip all of this. So what do we do? Sorry, I promise, Lena. I think I've already done this. Hold on, wait a second. Sorry. Maybe later. I gently loosened my sleeve from her grip and headed towards the farthest corner of the canteen. Xenia was shouting something in my direction, but I tried to ignore her. Hi, good morning. Having heard the librarian shouting, Lena had been stealing glances at me for a while.
Morning.
Strangely enough, she didn't blush, but smiled instead. Would you mind if I join you? I'll get my meal and be back in no time.
Yes, sure.
Oh, wasn't that sweet? In a minute, I was already sitting in front of her with a simple set of plates on a tray. Porridge, 2 poached eggs, 4 pieces of wheat bread, a boiled sausage, and a glass of compote, made of unknown fruits and berries. Have a nice meal.
Thanks.
I was trying to eat as neatly as I could, no chomping, smearing the food, or spilling the compote all over myself. It seems that eating like a human and not like a hog was not that hard at all. As usual, Lena remained silent, which means that I should start the conversation. Going to dance tonight?
Probably.
She was silent for a while.
And you?
I don't know yet. Though I didn't want to go there at all. I didn't like dance parties in my school days.
Why so?
What do you mean? My mind was still far away in my school times.
Why don't you want to go?
I didn't say I don't want to.
Okay, then.
But if you're inviting me... Lena turned red and looked away.
I don't really...
Sorry, I'm just kidding. I felt confused. I better not joke like that.
Fine.
Lena said indifferently and focused on her food, while her face turned even more red. Why am I stuck on this dance as if we have nothing else to talk about? But wait, is there actually anything? By the way, maybe you know what Xenia wanted to ask me?
Huh?
I mean, when I just came in, she wanted something from me.
I don't know.
I see. The conversation reached a dead end, so I tried to seem fully focused on my meal. Lena finished her breakfast first.
I should go. See you later.
See you. Aw, nice cute awkward girl. I was finishing chewing on the sausage, which tasted like a twisted pair of cable. I wonder if they have internet access here. I guess not. Pioneer sitting at the table noticed me talking to myself, and I smiled and waved in return.
Hi again.
Lena emerged from behind the nurse's back. It seems strange that I hadn't noticed her until now.
Come here after dinner. I've explained everything to Lena. She'll tell you what to do.
Medicine, huh? Supplied today? But Olga told me that no bus would arrive in the next couple of days. So there were visitors at our camp today. Strange. She seemed more spirited during lunch.
No way. There are a lot of boxes. And a pioneer is always ready. Isn't that so, Pioneer?
She gazed at me and smiled menacingly. I don't want to spend the whole evening doing something like this, and I've also got more important things to do. Rejecting this request would be really improper. If it wasn't Lena who was standing here, I would definitely think of my way out. Okay, I'll come? Yep. Okay, I'll come.
Nice. That's how a true pioneer should answer.
Even after these words, I barely came a step closer to be prepared, always prepared motto.
Then you can go.
I looked at Lena, who was staring at the ground still. I guessed all that time she spent staring at the ground was enough to learn everything there is to know about the life and habits of different insects. Plus, Lena likes to read, so she probably read many biological, botanical, and so on books. Perhaps she wants to become an entomologist. Some nice music for a very smart girl.
Where will you head next?
Lena's words drew me away from the obscure thoughts. We've been standing at the square for some time, and my speculations about bugs' lives were only an attempt to escape this awkward situation. Though, why did I see it as awkward?
Just don't forget, alright?
Don't forget what?
Well, tonight, after dinner, at the infirmary?
Her face got a slightly grumpy look to it. No way, that's impossible. Alright, right after dinner, I'm at your service. I thought too late. At my words, Lena blushed even harder. I need to find a way to ease this situation. Why did the nurse ask you to do?
I don't know. I was just sitting on the bench and reading a book when she came and...
It's smart to ask a reliable person who would never say no. Okay. Well then, after dinner.
Okay. I'll be off then.
Yes, sure. She walked off somewhere beside the clubs, and I just stood at the square for some time. So what's next? I decided to visit my cabin in order to collect my phone. I don't know where I'll find myself today, but having a watch is always useful. Though having a wristwatch is much easier. Suddenly I heard a different tune, which was cutting through the usual noise of the camp. And this one is... I should go take a look. And skip all this. And I have to say, okay, I'll come. Okay, so Lena and Alyssa's stories are kind of intertwined a little bit. Okay, so this is nothing, so I guess I'll just run away. And that stuff happened. But I agreed to help Lena. What should I do now? Go to the dance party. In a couple of minutes, I was standing at the square. Loudspeakers and some DJ equipment were installed with some light strings. Anything different? One more invitation to dance would completely ruin my pride. I started to think about an appropriate excuse to leave and was looking for the moment to do so, but then I saw Lena. She was slowly heading my way.
Maybe we should go?
Where to? I was so immersed in my thoughts that I didn't really get what she meant.
To the infirmary. But if you want to stay here and dance...
I doubt she was going to dance. Lena had stood aside the whole evening. No, I'll pass. Let's go. At least I won't have to stand here like a shy nerd. Seriously, trying to conceal myself in the corner wasn't very pleasant. A bull in a china shop would be more agile than me on the dance floor. I didn't have the slightest intention of dancing in the first place.
Well, shall we go to the infirmary?
Lena brought me out of my thoughts. We'd just been standing near the canteen for some time. Yeah, sure. Thank you.
What for?
She looked at me in surprise. Well, for getting me out of there? I shouldn't have told her that dancing is not my thing. It's, so boring there.
Seems to me you don't like dancing.
There was not a trace of sarcasm on her truthful, even childlike face. Seems like she really doesn't understand. Yes, don't like it at all. I'm not really into it.
Me too. No one ever invites me to dance.
Lena blushed and stared at the ground as usual. Fuck, my words being butchered. Strange.
What's strange?
Well, that no one ever invites you.
You think so?
Again, she looked at me with an expression of surprise and a lack of understanding. I got confused and couldn't find what to say in return the right way. Yes, certainly. If I like dancing, I would have invited you for sure.
Thanks.
We didn't say a word for the rest of the way. Lena obviously felt too confused by my awkward compliment, and I just didn't know what topic to choose for a conversation. It was completely dark by that time, and the gloomy building of the infirmary covered in the night mist looked strongly like a haunted house. I felt a strong desire to turn around and walk away without making any noise. Threw a quick glance at Lena and noticed that she looked like usual, shy, modest, uncertain, but not in any way scared. It just made me even more uncomfortable. It can't be that she is not scared while I... Suddenly an owl hooted nearby and I shivered. Lena seemed either not to hear it or not to pay attention to it or just not be scared by it at all. I could hardly believe the third option, but I didn't want to ask her about it, giving away my own fear. I entered the infirmary and found a switch in the dark. Oh god, the bright light on him killing me! Will the nurse come later?
She won't come.
Okay, she won't come. Understood. Wait a second. What do you mean she won't come? Ah, I see. It is not that I'm afraid to be alone with Lena. Indoors, at night, with no one around. Only in movies does something happen under such circumstances. It is just that I'm with Lena and not with Oyana or Slavia. And it seriously changed my attitude towards things happening.
There are the boxes.
She pointed at the messy stack of boxes. There was about a dozen of them. It would take much more than 10 minutes of work. I put one of the boxes on the table before me and started to take out its contents. There were bandages, lots of little packs of bandages.
Here, take this.
Lena gave me a piece of paper. There were some fields and I quickly realized that I should put the name in the left, the description in the middle if there is one, and the quantity in the right field. It's not a database, but it'll do. The work started in full swing.
Semyon.
What? I looked at Lena. She stared at me for a couple moments, seemingly making up her mind to do or to say something, but then lowered her gaze again.
No, never mind.
It was physically hard for me to just sit without saying a word. However, I didn't dare to speak first, not only because I couldn't think of a good topic for conversation, but that I was just feeling shy. This girl could easily be embarrassed by anything.
Semyon.
Yes?
You're counting them all over again.
Indeed, I'd started to take out and put into the database the bandages I had already counted. Oh, sorry. She didn't answer. Hey, where are you from? I mean, where did you come from? Meaning, where were you born? I mean, where do you live? I mean, I'm not a stalker, no!
Well, There's a town not far from here.
Not far from here? Where's that?
Somewhere.
Looks like she doesn't want to talk about it. Is Lena hiding something too? It is explicable in the case of Olga, but in Lena's case, it is absolutely not like her. Is it a secret?
No, just...
So, is it somewhere in the south too? I should have thought of something more original. Every single one of my sudden ideas turns out the wrong way, and this attempt to play spy worked out even worse. Now I thought about south, just because the only pioneer camp of the Soviet Union I remembered was Artek.
Yes.
Lena hesitated to reply. Couldn't quite tell if she was lying or not.
Don't you like it here?
I wondered what part of what I said made her think so. Absolutely not. I like it here. My false friendliness sounded very insincere, grating on the ears. What about you?
I like it. It's so calm here. There are a lot of books in the library. And the people are nice.
Nice, but not all of them.
Why?
Did I really say that last bit out loud? Turns out I did. Well, you know, Oyana, for example, she's like an Energizer battery with a completely unbalanced point of power application.
Battery? What?
Maybe I really was sent back in time. Never mind. Or Alyssa, the saying, a pioneer is the kid's role model. Certainly doesn't describe her. If everyone started following her example, it will be a complete disaster for the country in 20 years or so. However, thinking about it now, you can draw the conclusion that everybody did follow the example of Alyssa in the 80s, where I probably am right now.
She's not like that, actually.
Not like that? Not like what?
Not like what you said about her.
To begin with, I hadn't said anything. I just stated the fact that she's not the best example to follow.
Well, maybe.
Sounds like you know her well enough.
Probably.
I asked that question only to keep the conversation going and didn't expect an answer like that. Alyssa and Lena were so different. The idea that they could be close was unbelievable for me.
We came from the same town.
As if she had foreseen my question.
We have common friends, even though Alyssa is 1 year older.
Okay, it's a little bit strange. Oh, not like that. I'm just, surprised.
Everyone gets surprised.
Lena smiled a bit. I took the second box. Analginum. Activated charcoal. Analginum. Activated charcoal. Saline solution. Potassium. Words I can't pronounce. Lena always spoke in simple sentences. How can I communicate with her if every conversation turns into a monologue? Or just an awkward silence? I wasn't quite satisfied with such a state of things. Sometimes it looked like she was hiding something behind her mask of shyness. But what? I read a book not that long ago. Do you like science fiction?
Not much.
Damn, another failure. Well, if you don't like it, then what books do you like?
Different kinds.
Conversation wasn't going smoothly and I had to turn it off for the better. Who knows why, but I thought about the dance again. Feelings of uneasiness, discomfort, and even shame overwhelmed me once more. Looks like I'm not that different from Lena when it comes to such things. I am shy and afraid of things I don't understand or can't do. I should probably overcome my fears before anything else, and this will help me to understand her better. I've made up my mind. There are only a couple of boxes left.
Yes.
Hey, I've got an idea. How about we go to the canteen afterwards? I think the tape recorder was taken back there. What is it doing in the canteen? I hesitated.
What for?
Her sincere look made it clear that she hadn't the slightest idea what I'm going to offer. Well, frankly speaking, I just don't know how to dance. That's why I don't like it. That's the reason I was so confused back there. Maybe I could thank you by dancing with you.
But
She stopped sorting out the medicine for a moment, blushed, and looked right into my eyes. I got a bit stubborn. It really was a stupid idea. It's okay if you don't want to. I don't insist.
What if someone sees us?
I certainly didn't think about that. It's not a big deal, but everybody is asleep already. No one is going to go to the canteen at night.
How will we get in there?
I should have thought about it beforehand. Well, I did have Slavia's keys, but didn't want to mention them. Someone could get the wrong idea about me stealing them. That moment I regretted that I still didn't get my cell phone from the cabin leader's house. From the leader's cabin. Anyway, I had to say something to get away from this awkward topic. What kind of music do you like?
Different kinds. I'm not really into it.
Then let's imagine that it's playing now. I mean that we hear it playing.
How's that?
Like it plays in your head. I still remembered the melody to the pioneers were dancing to. The music and words were really clear in my memory.
I'm not sure I can do it.
You can just try.
Probably.
I've got her consent! Yes! Consent! In Lena's case, even that probably can be considered yes. Oh, is it dancey time? We silently sorted medical supplies for the rest of the time, writing down their names and quantities. I should pay more attention to every word I say after such luck. I stayed silent most of the time though. Soon we finished the last box. I gave Lena the filled-in list and started to stare at her, like I saw a Bigfoot riding unicycle while juggling piglets. So like this? It was amazing, frightening, and above all, mesmerizing. She suddenly broke out laughing. What?
That look of yours.
Yep, I was right. I was about right. What about it?
It's just funny.
Really?
Yes. So, where are we going to go?
Where? Her last words unsettled me. I completely forgot what we were talking about. Frankly speaking, I had completely left this world for a moment.
Well, you know, to dance.
Lena blushed right away and her face took on a strange expression of shyness, uneasiness, and fear. Ah yes, sorry, I was just lost in thought. Let's go to the pier. I don't know why I chose that place. Maybe because you could run into a pioneer at the square in the residential area, or near the canteen, but not on the pier. That's what I thought, at least. Or maybe because of the large, bright moon reflecting on the water in the night. And it is a full moon today. I don't know how, but this solution just offered itself. If you don't like it, then we can,
No, it's a really nice place.
Lena locked the door and we made our way to the to the pier. Night fell on the sleeping camp.
Should we follow the road?
Why? It will be faster through the forest. There is a nice path there.
Well, there could be...
Who? An owlet? I laughed.
Oh, you...
A shadow of displeasure crossed her face. Never mind it, sorry. If you want me to.
Okay, but can I?
Ah! The straight face of his. That is a man. That is a man right there. With perfect concentration. That is the face of there, like, don't get a boner, don't get a boner, don't get a boner, don't get a boner, don't get a boner. That's that face right there. Without finishing, she grabbed onto my arm.
Is it okay with you?
Now it was my turn to blush. Of course. We walked through the forest. It was hardly a forest, though. More like a small grove between the camp and the pier. About 100 meters long. I would never think that there would be anything to be afraid of, even on my own. But it just seemed like Lena's fear was contagious. The branches swayed over us. I shuddered and Lena clung to my arm even more strongly. Don't be afraid. It must just be a squirrel.
Yeah.
We reached the pier. The night was really beautiful. There always seems to be a train going past every time we come here. I walked closer to the river and called Lena. Look! The pier, the boathouse, and the moon were reflecting in the water. It looked like another world, with the surface of the water being the door to Wonderland. You could just jump and find yourself on the other side. May I have this dance? I extended my hand to her and bowed clumsily. Lena hesitated. I must have overdid it with my mannerism. There's nothing to fear. I'm no good at it either. Why either? She never said she couldn't dance, though it was kind of obvious.
Okay.
Oh, and then they dance. Lena gave me her hand. I let a bit aside and gently put my arms around her waist. We just stood like that for a few moments.
And what next?
Well, I don't know. Do you remember that song?
Barely, but I remember.
Great. Let's waltz like in the movies.
How's that?
Instead of answering her, I carefully started to move in a circle with Lena. See? Not that hard at all.
Yeah.
We waltzed for several minutes. Or whatever you would call it. I felt her warmth, though we were not that close to each other. Her chest heaved heavily and her face started to blush more and more. Lena didn't look at me, averting her eyes from one side to another. I suddenly realized that I had never felt anything like this before. It was tenderness, overtaking reality as I found myself in another, better world. I realized that I didn't want to let this girl go and that I would give up anything just to go on waltzing with her forever. I grasped Lena tighter, and only then she looked straight at me. There was surprising confusion in her gaze, but no fear whatsoever. She wasn't afraid of me, and didn't push me away.
You said you can't dance.
I really can't. I was confused. I didn't expect that reaction from her. Where was her confusion? Shyness and fear disappeared too. You too dance pretty well.
I know.
A playful smile crossed her face. Or maybe it just seemed so to me. No, I swear, I saw her. How is that possible? The image of shy and modest Lena didn't fit together with this moment at all. What should I say? What should I do next? I could only keep on waltzing with her in the stands, which was getting stranger with every passing minute. Oh god. Ah! What's with her, like, penis blocking me, man? Getting that mean penis block from this woman.
Semyon, where are you?
The voice came from the edge of the forest. Damn, the worst timing ever.
Semyon!
It was Olga. She must have been worrying because I should have been back a long time ago. I should have guessed that tireless camp leader would start searching for a lost pioneer. I should have warned her beforehand. Oh, there's no point in thinking about it now. Lena looked at me questioningly.
Being seen together would not be the best thing.
Why? Let's go and tell her that everything's alright.
No, let's hide and return to the camp later.
Her idea was strange. Everything was going so well. At least something was starting to work out. Or it seemed like it did. But what was that something? Okay then. I decided not to argue. It wasn't appropriate in such a situation. Olga shouted for a while and left.
Let's go.
Yeah, sure. Lena didn't grab onto my arm on the way back. I was a little bit frustrated, but I wasn't certain enough to take the first step. We kept silent again. It was not typical of Lena to start a conversation, and I just didn't know what to say after everything that happened at the pier. She kept looking at the ground all the way back, keeping her usual expression. What a bizarre change. Or to be more precise, what was bizarre, what was that smile on the pier and Lena's words? She stopped at the square and took a drink of Mountain Dew. Ah, yeah. Oh, that's the good stuff.
Well, I have to go.
Okay.
Thank you for today.
Yeah, sure. Lena turned around and headed to her cabin, and I kept standing where I was. What the hell was that? That dance, that sudden change in the mood, and then everything was back to normal? It was like I was embracing another Lena in that short moment. That's right, she wasn't herself. She'd seemed a completely different person. Maybe I don't know her well enough. I had a feeling before that Lena hides something under her mask of shyness. It takes much longer than 2 days' time to strand someone. Damn, what should I do? Maybe I was just seeing things. I walked to the leader's cabin. The whole camp was sleeping and there was no one to see me. So what? What's wrong with the pioneer taking a walk at night? When I was almost at the door, I heard a noise behind me. The branches of the bush near the trees rustled as if someone moved there. There shouldn't be any wild animals around here. Someone must have been watching me. At the very moment I rushed in the direction of the noise, forced myself through the bushes and looked around. It was too dark to see anything, or anyone. There was no point in going on. Even if someone was watching me, he must have been gone already. I went back to the cabin. The light inside was on. Looks like she's still awake.
Semyon, where have you been?
What do you mean, where? Me and Lena have been sorting medical supplies in the infirmary. I told you before that I would do that in the evening.
Really? When was that? Took you long enough. I was in the infirmary about half an hour ago. It was closed and the lights were off.
Well, we decided to have a little walk.
I'm fretting about you while you're out having a walk.
Well, sorry. I'll let you know beforehand next time.
Please do. Go to bed. It's late.
I can't help agreeing with her. God damn it. It was by any measure a hard day. I was too tired to think about the evening's events, and I doubt I would have had any decent thoughts. My main thing is that I've not a single idea how to react to all of this. To Lena, to the camp, to this whole world. I practically haven't spent a minute on looking for answers. Moreover, I've been avoiding it as if the possible discovery scared me. And Lena. The whole time I spent with her was much more important than all my attempts to return to the real world. I could worry myself for a long time, trying to understand what I did wrong and what I didn't do at all, but exhaustion overcame me. And I fell to sleep, I'm a sleepy boy! So that was day 3, so now we're on day 4. So then I assume we skip everything. I was going to head for breakfast when somebody knocked on the door. Hey, it was Lena! It was Lena.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I was taken aback a bit. The events of the previous day were still fresh in my memory, but I didn't really want to speak about them. You're probably looking for Olga, aren't you?
Well, no, I mean, yes.
Lena was her usual self, shy and easily embarrassed. That dance on the pier, now, it seemed no more than a dream. She's not here, I'm sorry.
Okay then, I'll go.
Okay. When Lena left, I thought that I'd been too cold towards her, so I decided to be nicer on our next encounter. Still, regardless, the morning was shining and beautiful. The bright sun was shining over the space in time displaced Pioneer Camp Sovyanok, warming its residents and filling them with energy to spend the day productively. And skip all the dialogue. Alyssa looked as usual. Didn't seem like she was going to start a fight over me missing the performance. I'd promised to come see before. Well, if she doesn't feel like talking about it, then why would I? Aren't you gonna get your food? Good idea. I hadn't thought about that. Today's breakfast didn't look much different from yesterday's. But it looked more appetizing. Or maybe I was just very hungry. Or maybe I was eager to finish it off as soon as possible to avoid yet another Olyana prank. Wanna go to the beach with us today? When? Right after breakfast. Generally speaking, relaxation wasn't on my agenda today, but if I was going to spend my time thinking, why shouldn't I do it while getting a suntan? Sure, why not? And then I skipped a bunch of nonsense. Okay, so do I have to go anywhere? No. So I guess I'll just go to the bus stop. I won't go with Miku, but she'll force me to go instead. And then the bus stop, and all of this stuff. Oh, there we go. Here we go. And it's, I think you'd look gorgeous in it. Which I've already done. So we pass that. Stolen candies. Don't ask about the bundle, because we don't need to know. And don't need to know, but we'll give her the activated carbon anyway. We won't eat the apple, because it's poisoned. And then we go with Lena. Go with Lena. I won't have to go there alone, will I? Olga thought for a moment.
You may be right. We'll go together tomorrow.
For the last few words, I'd noticed that Lena had a strange look on her face, as if she wanted to say something but didn't dare to. Pioneers started to disperse, as if they'd forgotten about Alyssa and the explosion. Even Lena seemed to have calmed down a bit and didn't react when the wannabe terrorists left the square, hiding behind Olyana.
Where should we go to?
Oh, okay, well, we should go to, I think she said. Night quickly fell on the camp. There was only a brief moment between the first rays of the sun setting till complete darkness. Here in the south, or maybe in this world, you don't have enough time to enjoy the variety of the sunset colors. It was too early to go to bed, but Lena confidently walked to her cabin, as if mentally dragging me with her. Olga, I'll take a little walk.
Okay.
She looked at me intently, but didn't find any reason to object. Shrugged her shoulders, and kept walking. Went back to the square. I didn't really want to look closely at the trivial damage done by the to the Genda statue. It was at the exact center of the camp. If you don't know where to go, you should start from there. I sat on the bench and looked to the west. I wondered if the earth here revolves on its axis as it should, or whether there was an actual north or south. It's hard to say. At this time, I didn't have any ideas on how to check the fundamental laws of nature.
Hi.
Lena appeared next to me as if from nowhere. Hi, can't sleep? She looked at me in surprise. Well, yes, it is still early.
May I sit?
Yeah, of course, sit down. I moved over a little. Saying a little was in fact an understatement. I actually shifted myself to the end of the bench.
Thanks.
Lena sat and looked at the sky as if she'd forgotten about me.
It's sad.
What is sad?
That Shirk disappeared?
Yeah, things aren't too good. She was as calm as usual, keeping silent most of the time. She blushed and felt embarrassed only when she had to speak or do something. That same silence, which could be seen as awkward by many people, including myself, was quite natural for her. I could hardly imagine Lena was making an effort to carefully choose the right words to start a conversation, or make a good remark, trying not to look stupid, or alternatively, trying to not to look as rude as Alyssa. I just wasn't able to compare her to anyone. She was just content with being herself. Does that mean that my attempts to start a conversation with her could be seen as rude? That expression become friends could be interpreted as an intrusion into her private life? But something in this girl attracted me. While it was her mysteriousness, maybe it was her mysteriousness, and she certainly wasn't lacking in appearance of feminine charms, I didn't have an answer for that. That's why I still had plenty... fuck me, I am butchering this today, Jesus Christ. It's because I just woke up 2 fucking hours ago. That's why I still hadn't been openly accused of being annoying. I'm sure he'll be found. How can you escape from a submarine? Lena didn't seem to appreciate the joke. This camp must seem like a large submarine to me only.
I hope so.
Tomorrow Olga will call the police and they'll find him for sure.
What if during the night?
Her expression grew sad. What if something happens to him? Alone at night in the forest, anything could happen.
He must be lonely.
No one forced him to go there.
What if he just got lost?
He shouldn't go walking into the forest alone.
You don't have any pity for him at all. Shirk may be sitting there all alone.
Of course I pity him. I felt ashamed. In any case, Lena was right. A person was missing.
Anything could happen during the night.
We aren't seriously going to search for him now, are we? She didn't reply, still looking somewhere far away. The last rays of the sun shined over the tops of the old trees as if trying to leave a bit of its warmth with the people. Do you really think that roaming around the forest in the dark is a good idea?
Probably not.
For some reason I was sure that was exactly what she thought. Recently, I seem to be starting to understand Lena even without words more often. She seemed to be influencing me psychologically, making me agree with her. Lena's silence was more informative than any chatter or attempts at persuasion. They looked for him during the day already.
Everywhere?
She stopped watching the sunset and looked at me. I don't know, I think everywhere.
What about the old camp?
For the first time, a word sounded self-assured and not vague or indifferent. Where is it? I have no idea.
Electronic told us.
Well, if you trust him, I grinned stupidly, but Lena kept looking at me seriously. Sure, if it's not too far away.
So, you do want to go?
Of course I don't. We can if it's just there and back, quickly.
Okay.
Lena smiled and gave me a flashlight, which appeared from nowhere. Yes, that'll be useful. Does this mean she'd prepared beforehand, and nothing was up to me? I sighed as if doomed and headed to the forest with her. Haha! Night fell on the camp. We walked slowly. Lena was next to me, near but not too close. It was strange, but it looked like she wasn't afraid of anything. Moreover, she didn't seem to be bothered much about what we were doing, as if we weren't walking in the forest at night, but just watching a movie with other people playing leading roles. Actually, electronics said that the old camp was not too far, and if we walked straight to it, then it would be hard to get lost. After a few minutes, I was completely unsure that we were walking straight, and after a few more, it started to seem that it would be a miracle for us to even get out of here. But I didn't want to lose face before Lena, so I tried to walk cheerfully. The forest was full of silent, flickering shadows and gleaming moonbeams. The grass quietly rustled under our feet, and the branches rustled over our heads. Old oaks stood next to young birches. Large mushrooms emerged from under the latter, as if taking off their large hats in salute. On any other day, or rather, at any other time of day, it would have looked really beautiful. It may be safe at night too, but nevertheless, I shuddered at each gust of wind.
Look!
Lena pointed forward. I rubbed my eyes and saw a gap between the trees. Oh, it's the spooky scary! Still no eyeballs. In a minute, we were in a rather large clearing. In the middle of it stood a building which looked like a village school or a kindergarten. The paint was falling off the walls. There were several holes in the roof like the aftermath of bombing, and the glass-less windows looked at us sadly and a little threateningly. It was not a very pleasant sight. I couldn't remember how I'd imagined this place a moment ago. It was like all the images had been erased from my memory, replaced by this depressing graveyard view. Well, it's creepy. Lena was still standing silently, but a natural expression of fright appeared on her face. That looks like a natural expression of joy.
Do you think he's in there?
I have no idea. If I was sure, then a haunted house would be the last place I'd hide in.
Shall we go?
Oh, I guess we're going in. I didn't manage to answer. The moon appeared from behind the clouds and illuminated the clearing with new colors. Actually, in one color. The white of the grave. I could see more clearly. Oh god! Whew. Talking makes me tired. I could see more clearly the distant trees, the mist shrouding them. It felt like the temperature dropped several degrees, making me shiver.
Are you afraid?
Lena asked calmly. Honestly? She smiled almost imperceptibly and took my hand. It would have caused a storm of emotions in any other situation, but at that time it felt like a basic necessity. We slowly walked to the building. Oh, we opened a door. Walking through the playground, I pushed a merry-go-round, causing it to creak nastily as it made a half-turn. Lena shivered and grasped my hand tighter. Sorry, I probably just remembered my childhood.
Did you like merry-go-rounds?
Yes, actually. I don't know. I don't remember. Probably all children like them.
I didn't like them.
Why?
I got dizzy when I rode them.
No wonder if you spin too fast.
I liked swings more.
Well, you can get dizzy on a swing as well.
But why would you?
I don't know. The conversation had distracted me a little and I stopped worrying myself about everything. About Shurik, about our nightshirt, about Lena. After all, this world is not so alien. Finally, we reached the doors. The inside of the old camp building reminded me of kindergarten, the one I attended in my childhood. First glance, even the room arrangement was the same. Shurik!
Shurik!
Grave-like silence replied to us. Even the wind outside had calmed down. Looks like nobody's here.
We should check anyway.
Lena's courage still didn't cease to surprise me. Or should I say her lack of normal self-preservation instincts didn't. I don't know if this behavior is strange for this girl or not. Okay, let's do it. We thoroughly examined all the rooms of the camp. I even inspected the attic. Oh. That is some good do. There were signs that people had visited this place everywhere. Newspapers, empty bottles, and other garbage. There was no sign of Shirk. We returned to the hall where we had started our search. What should we do next?
I have no idea.
Lena sat on steps and stirred out her feet. I think we should go back. I began carefully. It's late, and can just the two of us really search the entire forest for him?
You may be right.
She looked sad, and her expression let me know that the search was not over yet. Well, I am. I waved my hands in resignation and sat next to her. We should think about the worst outcome.
Are you saying...
No, but are there any wild animals around?
I doubt it.
Lena calmed down at once. He may be sleeping somewhere. He'll wake up in the morning and return to the camp.
Yeah, of course.
I jumped to my feet and started walking in circles around the hall. I really wanted to leave this place to get out from the forest, but it was as if Lena's behavior was keeping me here. I wanted to go on trying to persuade her, but then I noticed something on the floor. It was a trap door. There were little heaps of garbage and dust around it. It must have been opened recently. Look!
Do you think that Shirk is there?
Lena squatted and carefully pulled on the hatch's handle. It may not be Shirk, but someone surely used it recently. I had already regretted finding that damn gate to hell.
Let's check it out.
The trapdoor wasn't very heavy, so you could open it without much effort. I directed the flashlight into it and saw a ladder going down a couple of meters. Looks like a cellar.
Let's go down?
I looked at Lena for a few moments, trying to understand what was on her mind. Did she have a craving for adventure like Ilyana? So where's her youthful spirit then? Or maybe she just went a bit nuts. Lena didn't seem to like a crazy person. But anyway, who even said she really is a human and you can evaluate her with human behavioral logic? That thought should have scared me, but somehow I didn't pay any attention among the millions of other thoughts. Some of them were more important. For example, what could be down there? Oh, we going down into the spooky stars. Yes, my boy. Oh, it's nice and cloudy outside. That's wonderful. I climbed down and looked around. Everything is okay. After I made sure that there was nothing to be afraid of, I called Lena. We stood in the long corridor, which certainly wasn't a cellar. Its architecture more resembled KGB dungeons or a subway maintenance tunnel. I don't know which would be better. There are countless wires along the walls, fastened by metal hooks every half a meter. There were lamps under the ceiling, covered by rusted shades. Crumbled concrete crunched under our feet unpleasantly.
Shall we go?
Lena without any emotion. Where to? There?
Well, yes. What if Shirk is there?
What would he be doing there, though? In any case, I wasn't really able to refuse her today, so we forgot about our fear and headed into the darkness. Lena is fucking strong as balls, yo! Lena walked next to me, holding my hand. The silence of the dungeon was interrupted only by the sound of our steps and dripping water from the ceiling. We moved forward, slowly, maybe too slowly. I suddenly felt a surge of claustrophobia. I gritted my teeth and squeezed the torch, but loosened my grip at once, fearful of breaking our only source of light. Lena kept silent, and her silence seemed louder than any words. I started to fear. Say something.
Door.
What?
There's a door.
She pointed forward. Came to a massive metal door with a biohazard sign. Looks like a bomb shelter.
Yes, I heard something about it.
Why is it here?
I have no idea. Maybe because of the Cuban Missile Crisis?
Cuban? I estimated the approximate time of constructing the camp. Makes sense. However, building a bomb shelter here was like building an airport at... Come on, man! I'm just gonna say forgo instead of how I think it's pronounced in Northumberland or Lacock in Wiltshire in the UK. Wasn't deep enough and too far from civilization. The door wheel dully creaked. I had to push it with all my strength before it turned a couple of times. I made up my mind and opened the door with difficulty. We entered the room, which seemed to be the main living quarters. There were some beds, cases, some scientific equipment. They had been thoroughly prepared for a nuclear apocalypse. We didn't find any signs of Shirk there, though. Look. Lena was holding a flare gun and smiling. Why would I need it?
To fight monsters?
There are no monsters here. At least I wanted to believe that.
If you say so.
I guarantee it. I didn't want to upset her, so I tucked the flare gun in my belt. It might come in handy. We thoroughly searched the room once again. There were two exits. The first was the door we had entered, and the other one was another door, exactly the same in the left wall. For a moment I felt excitement, the urge to reach the end of this labyrinth and to learn what prize awaited me there. However, this surely wasn't a computer game and there is no option to save.
Maybe with this?
Lena offered me a rather big crowbar. No, I'll give it a try without it first. However, the door didn't want to budge, it only creaked nastily and the door wheel didn't turn a millimeter. Okay, give it to me. It was too easy with the crowbar. Bang! In the end, the obstacle collapsed, hitting the floor loudly. The hinges were rusted completely, though. I pointed the flashlight into the passageway. There was a corridor, just like the one we had come here through.
Let's go.
It was like Lena was constantly driving me on. Where are you rushing to?
Me? I'm not.
She blushed in confusion. Again, what should I make of her? First she doesn't fear a thing, then she gets lost after a word. You look like you don't fear anything.
I don't know. What should I fear? You will protect me anyway.
She added, barely audible. So, Lena is counting on me. She believes in me no matter what? It's possible. Stupid, naive, but possible. I knew clearly that I couldn't protect anyone, even myself. Nothing is up to me in this world. The powers that brought me here could do anything. That didn't exactly mean that inevitable death awaited me in the end of the tunnel. It could be lying in wait anywhere in this camp. Let's go. I tried to walk faster, but Lena seemed to not be bothered by that, and she easily kept pace with me. This corridor was exactly the same as the previous one, in every last detail. There was nothing shocking about it, but at some point I got a feeling that we were walking in circles. The flashlight in my hand started to tremble visibly. The spot of light jumped all over the walls and floor, and suddenly it lit up a rather big hole. The hole wasn't too deep, and down below we could see rails.
What's down there?
Looks like a mine.
Shall we have a look?
Why not go further along the corridor?
I don't know. I think we should go down there.
I estimated the height. It would be possible to pull ourselves out. Okay, let's check it out. I jumped down the hole and helped Lena to get down. It was something. I wonder what they could have mined here. What minerals are there in this area?
I don't know.
Yeah, stupid question. Looks like there are none now. We headed into the darkness. It was hard to walk because I couldn't choose where I trod. Wobbly wooden planks or uneven ground. I wasn't able to stick closer to the walls either. The narrowness of the tunnel forced us to stay between the rails, and I didn't want to let go of Lena's hand. Finally, we reached a fork. Just great.
Where should we go?
Where? I'm not certain that we'll be able to get out of here at all. Especially if we're going to play Pac-Man.
Play what?
Never mind, we'll get lost.
What if there is an exit too?
There may be one, and what if there isn't?
So we should go back?
I bit my lip until it bled and yelled as loudly as I could. Shark! The loud echo rebounded from every direction at once. Soil even fell from the ceiling in some places. See?
And I will go alone.
What? I grinned stupidly. Alone? Where to?
For we must find Shirk. He may be...
Lena blushed at once and stared at the ground. No, 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 no. That won't do. If we go together.
Okay, then let's go.
She smiled and took my hand. How did she manage that? But first, we should... I took a sharp stone from the ground and did a cross on the support walls. Now we know where we started. So we go right, and then we go left, and then we go right, and then we go left, and then we go right, and then we go left. Around the next turn, a wooden door appeared. At least it's something.
What?
At least it's not another fork.
What's in there?
We don't have any choices but to check it out. I strongly pulled the handle and opened the door. There was a room behind it, which might be one of the maintenance rooms for a bomb shelter. Empty bottles, cigarette butts were scattered everywhere. The walls were covered with scribbles. So that means there was another exit from here. I didn't want to believe that people who had left all that had come the same way as we did. Sadly, Shirk wasn't here.
Oh.
I slid down the wall to the floor. We must have been everywhere now.
Not everywhere.
Lena pointed to the door in the corner. Looks similar to the one leading into the bomb shelter. There probably should be an exit, as you said.
Shall we go?
Let's rest for a moment.
Okay.
Lena sat next to me very close and took my hand.
It's alright.
What do you mean?
We haven't found Shirk?
We should think about getting out ourselves.
We'll get out.
Yes, I probably remember the way. Or at least I thought that I remembered it.
I'm not afraid at all.
She suddenly said after a short pause. That's good.
Because I'm with you.
Suddenly there came a noise from behind the door to the mine. I jumped up at once and started looking for something I could use as a weapon. The noise of heavy footsteps was getting closer. Finally the door opened and Shirk appeared from behind it. In the silence I froze, staring at him. There you are, brah! Did you think you could hide from me, brah? What? Did you think that I wouldn't find you? But I did, brah! He wasn't sane, that was for sure. His face was distorted by a scary grimace. His eyes gleamed behind his glasses. The missing pioneer had a metal rod in his hand. Are you mad? It's us! Yeah, I can see it. I can see it's you, brah. He took a couple steps toward us. I instinctively shielded Lena. Did you think that you could make a fool of me, brah? Leading me here and there, brah? To the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, and then I followed, brah? He raised the metal rod. Everything after that was like it happened in slow motion. Shirk charging at us, me pushing Lena out of the way, the rod slowly arcing towards my head. My hand, with the flashlight going up. Following all that, complete darkness, rapid breathing, blood hammering in my temples. Silence, dreadful, heavy silence merging with the darkness. Moved my hand trying to find the wall when I felt someone's touch.
Don't be afraid.
I heard a familiar voice near me. Where are you, you damn lunatic? I shouted.
He left.
Which way did he go? Where to? Lena's voice didn't sound calm, but certainly it didn't sound like it should in such circumstances.
Calm down.
She hugged me tenderly and pressed her body against mine. I tried to gather my senses, to recover my breath, to adapt to the darkness. What should we do next?
You have a gun.
Well, who do I shoot?
It's loaded with a flare.
She might be right. Took the gun from my belt, pointed it to the side, and fired. Oh, red! All I see is red! Oh god, that hurts my eyeballs! The room was illuminated by a bright red light. The flare lying in the corner looked like a firework or a sparkler.
Let's go, quickly. It won't burn for too long.
Where to? Lena pointed to the second door. It wasn't hard to open it, and we headed into the darkness. The flare burned more dimly with every second. I stumbled with every step, even fell down a couple times, but didn't slow my pace. If it goes out... We finally saw a light in front of us and came to a ladder leading to a grating in the ceiling. The flare hissed and went out. Thank God. Turned out that we were right under the statue of Genda. The grating was rather sturdy, but we managed to open it after breaking the bolts with a flashlight. After reaching the surface, I collapsed on the grass, exhausted. That was terrible. Lena sat next to me, just dreadful. By that time, I didn't give a damn about this world, the camp, the 410 bus, or my previous life. The strangest and nastiest thing was that there was nothing supernatural in these events. Shirk just went crazy. Insane. Nothing strange about it. I would have, too, in his position. Lena patted my head tenderly and smiled.
It's all over now.
I don't know. There was a crazy pioneer in the woods. You could even say maniac killer.
I think he's gonna be alright.
Alright, I'm not sure about that.
The most important thing is that we're okay.
She still smiled. How can you be so calm?
I told you before that I have nothing to be afraid of when I'm with you.
Indeed, I may have saved Lena and myself back there, but it was only by chance, nothing more. I'm sure it could have been swifter or crazier. Thanks for the compliment.
You're welcome.
Though we still should have stayed here in the first place.
You're probably right,
she said calmly. I got really sleepy because of stress exhaustion of how late at night it was. We should go to sleep, but I'd have to stand up and walk to the leader's cabin. I wasn't ready for that. My eyes closed just for a moment. Stars looked down at me from the sky. Thousands of them, even millions. Now their light didn't seem to be so distant and cold. On the contrary, they twinkled to me, as if whispering among themselves, telling merry fairy tales about a galaxy far, far away and a fluffy violet piglets, about mysterious asteroid belts where ships have disappeared, about fearless starship captain and his brave crew, about exceptional treasures and unreachable peaks of a planet on the edge of the universe. I wonder, is that a dream? I lifted myself a little and realized that my head was in Lena's lap. Did I sleep long? I asked in confusion, but didn't rush to get up.
I don't know. I don't have a watch.
She laughed. Approximately?
Well, maybe 20 minutes.
That's okay then. I lay down again, feeling nice and calm like never before. The events of the night were becoming distant, as if I was starting to forget them. Like the story the stars were telling me.
Shirk has come back.
What? I jumped on my feet instantly.
Here he is, sleeping on a bench.
Lena pointed to the benches in surprise. And what are you?
You were sleeping so peacefully that I didn't want to wake you up.
I felt a shiver of fear because such behavior was not just strange. It was not just inappropriate. It scared me more than Shirk's insanity in the dungeon. The lunatic who half an hour ago tried to kill us lies on a nearby bench and falls asleep, and she just sits here?
Nothing to worry about. He just seemed to be a little off.
Lena got confused and blushed.
He walked unsteadily and didn't look towards us, and if I'd made a noise...
She was about to cry. Okay, don't worry. There was some logic to her words. She probably did the right thing. In any case, we had to interrogate Shirk thoroughly. Jumped up, walked quickly to the bench he was sleeping on, and slapped him. Ouch, brah! He woke up at once. What the hell, brah? What are you doing, you bastard? What, brah? Shirk stared at me with a scared and more of a sane look. What was all that about down there? What? Where, brah? In the dungeon, in the mine, in the bomb shelter. Did you go completely nuts? I don't understand you, brah. He looked around. Why am I here, brah? Where should you be in your opinion? Oh wait, I know, you should be in an asylum. I went to the old camp in the morning for the spare parts, and then, brah, I don't know, brah.
Don't you remember anything after that?
Lena asked after walking up to us. Yes, and I... Don't pretend, I said calmly and sat next to him. It really looked like he wasn't lying, though. I don't understand anything, brah. It's unscientific, brah. Who cares? Don't think that I trust you. Memory loss can't just occur. Shirk talked to himself, mumbled something, not paying us any attention.
Let's go,
Lena said quietly. Shall we just leave him here?
He's not in his right mind. He has to sleep.
It's dangerous to leave this psycho alone. He may strangle electronic with an induction coil in the night.
It's gonna be alright, trust me.
I had no reason to trust her. However, I didn't have any reason to trust her either. On the other hand, who cares now? I wanted to fall asleep as quickly as possible. Okay. We left Shirk, who was still mumbling something to himself. Oh?
We here.
What? Where?
Have to go further on.
Lena smiled. I hadn't thought about anything all the way here, just followed her and hadn't noticed that we'd come to Olga's cabin. Yeah.
Thank you for today.
There's nothing to thank me for. It's just good that we came back alive. We'll see what Shirk has to say tomorrow.
Thanks anyway,
she said mysteriously and averted her eyes. You're welcome?
Well, it's time for me to go.
Lena quickly turned around and walked quickly in the direction of her cabin. I suddenly had a thought that something about that was a bit off, not quite right. After all that had just happened, it's time for me to go. It usually goes different in such situations, doesn't it? I've no idea what I expected, though. Exhaustion hit me again. Walking with difficulty, I entered the cabin. Lena was sitting on my bed.
Semyon,
she started to talk sadly.
Where have you been?
Well, I prepared for a scolding, but didn't expect that reaction. I went to look for Shirk.
Alone?
Is this a thing? Tell her you went alone. Yes. Yeah, alone.
So, what about Shirk?
It looks like Olga was really worried about the fate of the lost pioneer. What's so strange about that? Lena can treat her work lightly, but it doesn't mean that she's a heartless person. He's okay. As okay as he could be in such a situation.
That's good. Go to sleep now.
Okay, well, she didn't fucking scold us this time. That's good. Wait, but she turned the light out and quickly showing that the conversation is over. I couldn't ask anything. Though, should I? Ask why she didn't scold me? Still, Lena, what happened today? My thoughts slowed their pace before stopping completely. And that's the end of day 5, I assume? Oh no, day 4. Of course, day 4. We ran. Like lonely pioneers. Lost in love. Anything, go with Slavia, try to find... Okay. Cool. So I guess it doesn't matter which one I go to. Refuse. I don't care about you, Olyana. Is this the one where... Go with Slavia. And then, thanks to the girl's help. And I guess we'll just come back here. After they're building their weird robot cat furry machine. Weird thing. Library. More cake ingredients. Da 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 da. Is this one? Try to find out what Alyssa and Lena are arguing about? Yes. Of course, well, it was quite natural for Alyssa to be arguing with someone like that. But hearing Lena talk in a raised voice, came closer silently, trying to find out what was going on. No, you listen to me.
I'm not going to listen to anything.
Really? Great then. Alyssa turned away and her eyes met mine. At first she obviously was confused about what was going on, but then... So, you're eavesdropping? What, me? No. She began slowly advancing on me and I took a few steps back. Lena, however, remained standing where she was. Okay, well, okay, then listen. Alyssa stopped halfway and turned back to Lena. By the way, did you know he was peeping on me today?
What?
Peeping, and he saw everything.
Is that true?
Lena wrung her hands distressfully, gave me a quick glance, and started staring at the ground as if she was cut off from the world. No, nothing like that happened. Having thrown an angry glance at Alyssa, I came up to Lena.
Why are you denying it? I even have a witness.
Your witness is even worse than you.
So you'll stick to your claim that it didn't happen?
I took a second to think, but really, why do I have such a pathological desire to exonerate myself before Lena? As though I vitally need her opinion of me to remain unchanged. Though, how would I know what she's thinking? It didn't happen. Lena threw a baleful look at Alyssa and raised her eyes to me right after that, eyes full of discomfort and hope. It suddenly became unbearable to stare into these eyes. It didn't happen. I repeated less confidently.
Well, whatever. Alyssa sneered from behind. It's up to you to decide who to trust.
She said to Lena offhandedly, then turned away and headed to the bonfire.
Is that true?
I felt uncomfortable like a fish out of water, feeling the urge to end this as fast as possible. Why should I have to excuse myself to her? Well, so what if it did happen? I looked at Lena boldly, but noticed only a bright sunset gleam reflected in a tear which was going down her cheek. No, I meant...
You don't need to lie.
She wiped off her tears and tried to smile.
After all, it's none of my business.
No, why isn't it? But why is it? It's just that, well, it was an accident. Get it? An accident which was caused by Alyana, nothing more.
Yeah, sure.
It's true.
I believe you.
Lena was saying everything with absolutely no emotion, like she didn't care at all about what was going on. I was almost able to believe it, but her tears a few seconds ago. It seems to me that you don't.
What is this, some kind of a game?
Lena said quietly, but there was a hint of anger in her tone.
You really need to convince me of that, and even if I believed you, what then? Would it all become true?
I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I just want you to understand that I'm not guilty and didn't want to.
Why should I care at all?
Lena shouted. I was standing with my back to the bonfire, but I was sure that all the pioneers had turned in our direction.
If you want to peep at someone, do it. Do whatever you want, but why do you bother me?
I'm not, but really, from any point of view, it looked that way. Trying to excuse myself to Lena with no success. Like a guilty child, or maybe even like a husband who'd slipped up.
Just so you know, I don't care.
Lena turned away and headed back to the camp at a fast walk. I didn't try to stop her. No, it certainly wasn't the best solution. She's on the edge, no attempts to convince her or appeal to reason would help. Since when is she like that? Screaming that way, getting mad. These thoughts in mind, I returned to the bonfire and sat down on a wooden log.
So?
Alyssa asked after seating herself nearby. What?
Not a great success, huh?
As you see, I growled out while picking the coals with a stick. It grew completely dark and the glade was plunged into darkness. The surrounding landscape was reminiscent of a picture from a child's book about a wood monster. An unknown forest creature is just about to spring out from behind the tree. Predatory owls hoot menacingly in tree branches. Even mice looking out from snags stare at you with distrust. I was not afraid at that moment. Everything was different from the previous day when I was in the dungeon at the old camp. The moon was shining brightly, paying close attention to our brave troop. The world was sleeping, waiting for the morning, bathing in the moonlight.
As I thought. Though it was expected.
Why? I finally managed to pick up the largest burning log and throw it into the center of the fire, causing the flames to rise about a meter high, and a vortex of sparks to spread out in all directions. Does Lena often behave like that?
How?
Screaming at others? I couldn't believe she would act in such a way.
She is human like anyone else.
Alyssa giggled.
As if you hadn't noticed this before.
What hadn't I noticed?
Her.
What do you mean?
I mean, this is her true face.
What do you mean, true face?
Oh, you're so stupid.
Finish what you started. She's not what she seems like. Not like how you thought of her before. So how is she? Okay, I'm sick of this. Alyssa stood up, intending to leave. I didn't say anything, just sat and listened to the sounds of the forest. By the way, if you want to follow her, I think she's on the island. On what island? The one where you were gathering strawberries today? What is she doing there? Ugh, you really are an idiot. Alyssa stomped the ground, circled the campfire, and sat opposite. Must have really lost track of things. My head was absolutely blank. To be precise, it was so heavy and full so that not even a single idea would have the chance to dwell there. If I would compare my brain at its prime to a broad highway full of speeding thoughts overtaking each other, causing gigantic chaotic crashes, now it's nothing but a forgotten tiny path in a distant, desolate forest, which is only used in times about absolute necessity. I tried to think over what happened, analyzing it somehow, but it seemed I was bashing against an invisible wall. Moreover, it was impossible for me to find a single emotion in my soul, any response, as if it all happened to someone else. I failed to convince Lena that I'm not guilty. Should I care? Lena cried, screamed, and then left. So what? I don't feel anything about it. Should I? Bit my lip until it bled and stood up. Couldn't bear to stay here among these laughing pioneers. I should run away. It doesn't matter where to. The forest, to the mine, even to space. I don't care. Just so long as I can get far away from here. I seized a moment when the camp leader was looking in the other direction and bashed into the forest shadows. There had been no rain for a long time. However, I'm not sure whether it rains here at all. What a stupid idea. Of course it does. Plants need some moisture. The night was fresher than the afternoon, but the air still hadn't had enough time to cool. I felt a little dizzy from the evening's stuffiness. Suddenly, I realized that I really wanted to swim. It's quite a normal desire because the days are hot and you constantly feel soaked with sweat during the daytime. I didn't even notice that I'd been approaching the pier. Why not the beach? Thoughts of Lena came over me again. Everything that I tried to ignore came out and brought lots of inconvenient questions, inappropriate answers, and vague desires. It was obvious that I had been led to the pier by my subconscious. But what do I really want? To apologize to her for something? To convince her of something? No, unlikely. I just wanted to get some sort of reaction from her. Wanted her to say, yes, I understand everything, and just smile. And then I could stop myself from feeling like that. It was necessary for me to be understood by someone, even in this world. I untied a boat, pushed it into water, got in, and took up the paddles. It was easy to row this time. My hands were still hurting, but I managed to develop some sort of technique that allowed me to travel quite directly. The river seemed frozen, spreading under the boat like a translucent veil. The moonlight was piercing deep into the water, so it was almost impossible to see the bottom. I started rowing. Surprisingly, the island now seemed the same as it did in the daytime. Here, usually everything is different. After dusk, it felt like another world. A mystery world, scary at times, but beautiful in its own way. A world of shadows and whispers, a nocturnal world. I slowly walked around the island, looking for the boat which Lena took to come here. The grass softly rustled under my feet. The occasional waves peacefully struck the shore, and bounced back like flies too tired from beating the grass. The breeze from the water lazily stirred the leaves of the trees out of habit rather than a real desire to make the night grove sing. I looked at this wonderful picture with such delight that I didn't even notice something until I stumbled into it. It was a boat. Well, of course, she wouldn't get here by swimming. I headed towards the center of the island. After 100 meters, I heard rustling from behind a tree. "Don't come any closer," Lena whispered. I hesitated. "Don't come any closer," she said louder. How did you know it's me? Though she hadn't indicated that she'd known that. All right. I leaned against the tree, trying not to look behind it. Alyssa told me that you would be here. So what? It was difficult for me to know what emotions Lena was experiencing. Her voice was steady enough, even though I could read irritation and annoyance in it. I could not understand whether she was angry, or whether it was all the same to her. It came out awkward. I was doing my best to avoid unnecessarily apologies and excuses, but I couldn't find other words to use instead.
Is that the only reason you came?
No, well, I don't know.
You don't know, but you still came?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have.
Why? Of course, if I'm bothering you.
Why are you following me?
She was right. It certainly looked that way. Moreover, I definitely felt attracted to her. You shouldn't think like this.
How should I think?
I don't know.
I can only draw conclusions based on your behavior.
I really don't know. I guess I'd better go. I was confused and it was hard just to be near her.
Why, since you came?
I seemed to hear a playful tone in her voice. Alright.
And?
What?
What did Alyssa tell you?
Nothing special.
I see.
Yeah.
Well then.
Yep. I just stayed silent for a while.
Since you came, tell me about something.
Well, I don't know.
For example, about what happened this morning?
What about what happened this morning?
You know.
You yourself didn't want to talk about it.
I didn't want to, but now I want to.
Lena's voice trembled. I couldn't understand what was happening at all anymore. Maybe it's not her behind the tree.
Don't look.
Okay, but what's wrong?
Nothing, just don't look.
Alright, as you wish.
So nothing happened?
Well, something did happen, but that was all just a silly accident.
Why are you worried so much about what I think about?
I'm not worried, and anyway, you yourself, I said louder, beginning to feel irritated.
What about me?
Why are you so concerned about this situation?
Who said that I'm concerned about this situation?
Then what?
Nothing,
she said in a whisper and fell silent. Such talk would lead us to nowhere. Lena wouldn't say anything, and I seemed to be too stupid to guess or even just to be sure about myself. Sorry, I guess it's all my fault. I just can't understand.
Why?
What?
Why do you keep apologizing for everything? For what you did, for what you're doing, even for what you haven't done yet?
But maybe she was right, but I couldn't behave differently. I felt the need to apologize to her, to everyone, so they would not think badly of me, wouldn't laugh at me, so I can put away something unsaid and eliminate misunderstandings.
Anyway, that's your business.
Lena got angry.
Apologize, make excuses, why should I care?
Okay, well, I'm not guilty. In fact, I don't think I could be blamed for anything. Then what's wrong? What's wrong with you?
Why would something be wrong with me?
I don't know, I just think so.
Oh, you just think so.
She laughed.
You speak as if you know me.
I did not answer.
Please leave.
Lena said after a while. I didn't move, I just couldn't. Had no strength to do so. I wanted nothing at that point, didn't want to excuse myself to apologize, I didn't even want her understanding. I was too tired of everything. Why?
Just leave,
she whispered. I don't want to.
Then I'll leave.
Let's just go together.
No.
How long are you going to be offended? By what? What's wrong with you? Everyone here behaves normally except you. I didn't care what my words meant, as if they'd been said by someone else, and the topic of conversation meant nothing.
You really don't understand anything. Alyssa was right.
About what?
Never mind.
Close my eyes to think it over. No, I can't go. I don't understand. Don't know what to think, what to do. And since when did I start worrying about my situation in this world? Or how to get back? Since when was the only thing I could think about since when was the only thing I could think about Lena, or how others would look at me, or how my actions look from the other side? It's just stupid, and it's not like me. In fact, it's inappropriate in this situation. In short, I didn't do anything and don't intend to justify things which I didn't do. There was no reply. Hey, do you hear me? I finally decided to see who was actually behind the tree, but no one was there. So she left. I rushed over to Lena's boat, but she was already far away, almost near the pier. Whatever, I shouted and walked along the shore. I got back relatively quickly and without much trouble. However, my hands still ached terribly and my eyes were closing themselves. Probably such a physical and, more importantly, emotional load is too much for one person. I walked slowly toward the camp leader's cabin, staring down at my feet and thinking about nothing. Someone called me to the square. Hey! Melissa ran up to me.
Have you been to the island?
Yeah. To tell the truth, I didn't want to talk to her about anything, but I already didn't have the strength to lie to her.
And how did it go?
Doesn't matter. I'm very tired and I'm going to sleep.
Come on, tell me.
Her face had such a nasty grimace that I shuddered with rage. Why should you care?
Well, I just...
She murmured in dismay. Mind your own business. I snapped and quickened my pace toward the cabin. Melissa didn't try to stop me. Knowingly, Olga had not returned yet, and I couldn't find my key. What if I lost it? The only thing I could do was wait. I plopped down in the deck chair and closed my eyes. My heart was heavy. My soul was being torn apart by vague expectations. From time to time, I had a feeling that I was already dead, just without realizing it, and I'd been thrown into hell. But really, instead of trying to get out of here, I'm spinning on a diabolic roundabout and it goes faster and faster. I'm becoming more and more involved in the life of this world, of this camp. As if I had no past life. The real one. As if I was always interested in the opinions of others. Damn it, I never cared about it. Why right here? Why right now? I recall the face of Lena in tears. Yeah, probably not the opinions of others, but her opinion was the one I cared about. I heard far footsteps. After a while, Olga appeared. She looked at me for a few seconds, seemed like she was about to say something, but then just sighed, opened the door with her key and went in. I followed her. Shapeless shadows, blurred memories, fragments of feelings and emotions swirled in my head for a long time. So long that after a while I couldn't tell where I was or what was happening to me. The only salvation was sleep. No, we're becoming sleepy, boy. Damn. Day 6. Lena. And she is pissed off. Woke up because somebody was shaking my shoulders. It was too hard for me to open my eyes, so I just whined pathetically.
Get up already, you're going to miss the lineup.
Once I realized what Olga wanted from me and what time it was, I rolled over to face the wall. I was so tired that I wanted to choke the camp leader, just so she would quit disturbing my recovery from a hellish yesterday.
Semyon, get up immediately.
I mustered my strength, opened my eyes, and sat up. Olga, I understand, but I had a hard day yesterday. Can I just sleep in at least today? I started bleeding.
It's out of the question. Lineup is mandatory for every pioneer.
And you've already missed it a few times. My head went completely numb, so I just couldn't find any arguments against that. In a couple of minutes, we were already standing at the square. I dozed off, taking great pains to not fall asleep on my feet, so I missed everything that Olga announced. The majority of the pioneers seemed to feel the same. Electronic yawned constantly, Alyssa had huge baggy eyes. Only Olyana seemed to be full of health and energy, as always. I swept my eyes over the lineup and yet again couldn't find Lena. That's odd. Generally, she's a diligent and committed girl. It's unlike her to miss such events. On the other hand, that was too much for her yesterday, such stress. She's probably depressed. Although such behavior from her was very surprising. I mean, I'd suspect that she was not the kind of person she wanted from others to see her as, but never expected such drastic change. Oh god, I need another drink, and now I was not sure how to behave around her. I was simply afraid of her. Finally, line-up was over and the pioneers dragged themselves off to breakfast. Miku caught up with me near the canteen.
Semyon, good morning. How did you sleep? Any dreams? How are you? Ready for breakfast?
She's always blabbered without a break, adding a cute smile at the same time. I'm okay. I answered lazily.
Today is quite gloomy, maybe because of the weather. It's quite dark. It might even rain. So yeah, everyone is sad and gloomy. I thought maybe something happened, but no one told me what. Can you imagine that? Something happened and everyone knows about it apart from me. I was sad about it, but then...
Don't worry, you won't miss the end of the world. I delivered a snarky remark.
Huh?
It looked like she was so into her monologue that she was completely oblivious to everything around her. And if you are going to miss it somehow, I will make sure to let you know. That face there, that's drawn up as, that's very scary. That's like a I'm going to fucking murder you face. Nothing. Enjoy your meal. I marched to the canteen with a firm step to get out my daily portion of fats, proteins, and carbs. To my surprise, the seat in the far corner was free. I sat down and tried really hard to make a face that would let everyone know that there is really no need to come anywhere near me unless there was an emergency. I just wanted to sit alone and think. Moreover, keeping my mind off other things was making me less sleepy.
Hi, mind if I join you?
I didn't notice Slavia standing there. Strange. Sure, I answered after hesitating for a second.
Bad mood?
A bit.
Does something happen?
Not really.
You don't have to tell me if you don't want to.
There is nothing to tell you about. We kept eating in silence until I asked, "Where did you go last night?"
Me? Oh, I just wanted to be alone for a while.
It's not like you. I felt a bit more lively.
Really? Well, maybe. It's also not often that you're seen so gloomy.
She might be right. Even in the most unfavorable circumstances, I've always tried to have a positive outlook on things. Not that I was an optimist, I just always tried not to feel too down. Keeping my previous life in mind, it's only natural. As soon as you let depression get a hold of you, the news will start to look very appealing. Perhaps. When Slavia was done with her meal, I was still poking the porridge with my spoon.
I'll be going.
By the way, have you seen Lena?
No, why do you ask?
I didn't see her lineup this morning. It's odd. It's not like her.
Maybe you're right. I don't think it's a big deal, to be honest.
Yeah, of course. I was just wondering. I sat for a few more minutes in place and then headed outside without finishing my breakfast. Today was quite gloomy, the first gloomy day during my time here. I'd kind of gotten used to the bright and burning sun. The heat would only subside by the evening seemed to be an irreplaceable component of this place. Looks like even the weather here changes after all. Almost like it's matching my mood. Looks like just more proof that this place or its creators are sentient and have great storytelling skills. Sometimes I really wanted to focus on a single theory of mine, concentrate on it, and forget about all the others. Just to decide for myself that it's all done by aliens, or I am in a parallel universe, or witchcraft, or military experiments. Just to pick one and be done with it. Stop thinking about all the possible explanations to the situation, constantly jumping from one to another. Just focus on a single one. But it's impossible. I have almost no facts about anything. Nothing extraordinary has happened to me yet. Yes, some odd things took place, but they can and do happen in the real world too. After yet another cycle of similar thoughts, I found myself at the bus stop of the Route 410, in the gates of the Camp Sovyanok. No answers, no hints, no clues. I was walking wherever my legs were taking me. It was quiet in the residential area. Not a single person there, to be precise. My astonishment grew when the electronic computer ran the next turn. I wanted to call out to him, but stopped because he was going a little too confidently in an unknown direction. It's strange that goes against his nature. Anyway, what can I talk to electronic about? And yeah, I'd have to start the conversation first. Seems like I was completely in despair. However, it will be interesting to follow him and find out where he's rushing to. As a child, I liked games of spies, and here is a chance to put myself into a real spy's shoes. I decided not to sneak and hide in a special way and just tailed him quietly at a distance. Soon we came to the library. Electronic knocked and went inside. I stood behind a big tree so nobody could see me and began to wait. He was absent for quite a long time. Perhaps this is a stupid idea because, in fact, what difference does it make if he went to the library? Maybe he just decided to get something to read. He was walking fast, so what? Perhaps he has some business afterwards. Oh, fuck me, that door scared the shit out of me. Jesus Christ. My thoughts were disturbed by a loud door slam. I looked towards the library and saw Electronic running away from there, and Xenia, who ran after him, shouting along the way, "I don't want to hear it anymore, or see you either!" Them ran past me, but naturally, they were so involved in chasing they didn't notice me. The whole situation seemed very funny, and I decided that I needed to find out what the matter was. I wonder where where could Electronic be running to like that? Fair enough. Okay, well, there's only one more option left, so I guess... we just keep going. Yes, it's quite obvious that he ran straight to his native cybernetics club. I entered without knocking, but I didn't find anyone inside. Electronic, it's me! The sound of footsteps came from the next room, and soon Electronic himself reappeared. Hi, Semyon, bro. I'm just, His eyes ran guiltily, and his shirt had visible traces of sweat. Going in for sports, I see. Sprinting? Aye, brah. You saw that, brah? He asked, doomed. Yes, purely by chance, so I decided to stop by and to ask how you were doing and what happened. Nothing special, brah. Really, brah. Indeed, fleeing from an angry librarian, it's nothing. You can tell me. I smiled disarmingly. Really? And you won't tell, brah? Of course, silent as the dead, crossed my heart. It seems I exaggerated there a bit, but looks like it had convinced him. Okay, brah. Took a deep breath, gathering strength. You know, I've liked Xenia since the first day. At those words, I wanted him to fall to the floor and start rolling around, shaken by violent attacks of laughter. But out of respect for him, I refrained. Still, his next few words flew past my ears. And so, I just decided, well, and you saw what happened next. A brave fellow indeed. Well, you try harder, I guess, and you will succeed. I patted him on the shoulder, trying really hard not to laugh. Thanks you for the support, bro. He smiled sadly. Okay, I have to go. I have some work to do. I shot out of the clubhouse like a bullet and finally laughed out loud. However, if you think about it, Electronic and Xenia would make a wonderful couple. They are actually a perfect match. It is strange, then, that Xenia rejected him. I was going towards the square thinking about this episode. At the end of the day, Electronic is not such a simpleton. Just like that, he declared his love, even realizing that refusal will follow. Or on the contrary, is it because he's just as simple as an apple pie? Either way, you can feel the honesty and sincerity in his behavior. More complicated people will spend hours, days, months, years thinking about how to present this in a better way, what consequences it could have, and whether you should even bother. I would do so myself. No, rather, I have done so. But he just said it. Unsuccessfully, of course, but it could have also gone differently. All these thoughts made me completely melancholy, so much so that the lunch signal, usually so anticipated, didn't trigger any emotions at all. The canteen was chock full. It seems that the camp was slowly emerging from the morning depression. Maybe the sun that had come out from the clouds contributed to that, or maybe something else that I missed while running after Electronic. Only the places next to Oyana and Alyssa turned out to be free. I braced myself and started walking towards them. Eating was still a necessity. Can I sit with you? Oh, just sit down. Why are you so gloomy? It's just that you're too cheerful. I'm trying to maintain the energy balance in the universe. Oyana giggled. Oddly enough, the girls did not pay attention to me and talked about their own concerns. First I thought it was good, but then I started to think that they were just taking no notice of me. By the way, where's Lena? Because of all my thinking, I'd completely forgotten about her. I don't know. Alyssa answered absently. Has she still not appeared? As you can see. I took a look around the canteen, but didn't see her anywhere. Nobody's heard anything about her? Nope. Don't you find it strange? What's so strange? Maybe she's reading, maybe sleeping or something. Seems like you're talking about yourself. It's none of your business, is it? Alyssa interjected angrily. Well, if a person is missing, you weren't so worried when Shirk disappeared. It's quite different. Yes, and why, I wonder? I had no answer and just blankly looked at Alyssa before going back to my food. She did not insist on continuing this conversation. Lunch was over, I silently stood up and went out the canteen without a goodbye. So Lena disappeared. What should I do now? On the other hand, why should I do anything? Why me? Where am I? Why am I here? Who are all these people? One cannot be absolutely sure whether Lena is what she seems. Perhaps all this doesn't even exist, so why should I worry? However, for me now, Lena is still the same Lena. The modest, quiet girl I met on the first day. Even her strange behavior could not affect my attitude towards her. In the end, it's still not certain that I still exist. So while the world is illogical, at least to some extent, I have to play it by its rules. I quickly went to the camp leader's cabin. Once inside, I saw Olga lying on the bed reading a book. Do you know where Lena is? No, why are you asking? She's nowhere to be found. She's missed both breakfast and lunch. So what? She looked at me blankly. What do you mean, so what? When Shirk was gone, the whole camp was searching for him from early morning. I don't understand you. There was something strange happening to the camp leader again. She was behaving absolutely incomprehensibly, illogically. Why so big words, man? Do you think it's normal? So where's she now? I don't know. Olga replied calmly. This is too much. I started to lose my temper. Ask Miku. She's her roommate after all. But yeah, because obviously I'll get no more answers here. I went outside, slammed the door, and went to look for Miku's and Lena's cabin. It was nice that the orchestra girl had told me before where she lives, which is why I was at the door of the cabin a minute later. I should have knocked, but for some reason I couldn't. After a few deep breaths, I knocked on the door several times. Come in! I heard a familiar voice. Hi, do you know where Lena is?
No, I haven't seen her today. You're looking for her, right?
Don't you think it's strange? By that time I'd started suspecting everybody of hiding information about Lena's location, of conspiracy, of involvement in me being here, of Kennedy's assassination, and of hundreds of other terrible things.
Well, you know, maybe. I thought she went somewhere and then I just got lost in doing things. Breakfast, music club, helping to clean, and then lunch, and then...
Okay, I see. And what about yesterday? Was everything normal?
Well, she came late and immediately went to bed. I didn't even notice anything wrong.
No chance of finding out anything here either. Thanks. I said abruptly and left. At that moment, it seemed to me that the missing Lena was the only living person in this pack of talking dummies, and I had to find her. However, it seemed almost impossible to do this alone, so I went for help. Who would be most willing to help me? Of course, Slavia. I decided that at this time she would be engaged in cleaning or something. For example, the square. So I went there. My sixth sense didn't let me down. Hi!
Hey!
Have you seen Lena?
No, why are you asking?
Nobody's seen her since this morning. She was absent during breakfast as well as during lunch.
Strange.
I also think this, to put it mildly, strange. Can you help me find her?
Oh, sorry. Maybe later. I've got cleaning here to finish.
It was like a lightning strike. I took a few awkward steps back and ran away from this place. No, that was not her. It was as if somebody had replaced her. Not only her, but also the other inhabitants of this camp. What is happening? The strangest thing is that it doesn't have anything to do with me, but with Lena. Maybe she came here the same way as I did? Exactly. That could be the reason why she behaves quietly most of the time. No, wait. But what about her knowing Alyssa? No, something doesn't add up. My head was going to explode and I started to choke. After catching my breath, I looked around and found myself at the bus stop. I sat on the curb and covered my face with my hands. Before, nothing had really been up to me, but was going relatively smoothly. Then now I was, as always, helpless. But the situation was totally different. I was watching the battle fought from the side with no threat to your life, and being on the hot spot without being able to help the ones you care about are two different things. I was just sitting. Time passed and the sun began to fall. Probably dinner has already started. Although, what's the difference? I still don't want to eat. I stood up and trudged back to the camp on rubber legs. As always, the only thing left is to wait. I decided to go to the beach. While everybody was at dinner, I could sit quietly and think there. Though, what could I think about? Enough, maybe? However, my expectations were ruined. On the beach, I met Xenia, which greatly surprised me. You also come here? She looked at me from behind her glasses. Do you think I'm not a human being? No, I don't mean that. And what do you mean? Nothing. By the way, have you seen Lena? No. I see. What do you want from her? Oh, nobody's seen her since yesterday evening. Do you think that somebody could get lost in this camp? She laughed loudly. Sure, succeeded. That was a special case. Those guys are two pea-heads in a pod and you never know what to expect from them. I immediately remembered the morning incident. Tell me, why were you chasing Electronic this morning? Xenia got uncomfortable. It's none of your business. Just asking. Because he's a fool. She turned away after these words. Maybe you shouldn't be so strict towards him. Even to me, it wasn't clear whether I'm defending Electronic or just keeping the conversation going. Then how else should I treat him? Well, give him a chance. You know, such an act requires lots of courage. You say it as if it's something special, some kind of achievement. Would you be able to do that yourself? I thought and answered after a while, I don't know. Haven't had the right moment yet. Hope you have it soon. Xenia said rudely and walked towards the canteen. I sat down on the sand and thought, true that, Electronic was able to say it, but can I do the same thing? That is the question. A big question. If I got the right moment, but which and when? It's always easy to think about something ephemeral to get ready for dozens of possible situations to predict the following events for many steps ahead. But most of the time, it all goes differently. Even a small event is enough to ruin all your plans. If you're not ready to do it at any time, whenever, under any circumstances, if you're ready only when everything is exactly as you had expected, it is unlikely you'd ever get anything worthwhile. Therefore, the only correct answer to Xenia's question was no. Not an ambiguous, uncertain, half-hearted, or forced answer, just no. There is only a simple yes and a simple no. It's always been hard for me to understand that. Between these two extremes, I always work great in a great number of different answers, like maybe, perhaps, probably, if, and not sure, but I'll try. Anything different? Oh, hey, it's raining! Fuck yes, that is awesome! I was so absorbed with my thoughts that I didn't notice how the darkness stole across the camp. Under other circumstances, I would have gone to sleep now, but looking for Lena at night was not a good idea. I got up and slowly wandered aimlessly. Soon the path led me to the sports ground. I stood there for a moment and was about to leave when I heard noises. Clap, another clap, something painfully familiar. I ran towards the volleyball court and saw Lena, who was unsuccessfully trying to hit the shuttlecock with the racket. I stood in shock for a long time. My head was completely empty. I just looked at her and felt a sense of joy. Joy at finding her, joy at seeing her again. Finally, I came to my senses and decided to approach. But after a couple of steps, I stopped. And what do I say now? Glad I found you? Where have you been? I was worried. After yesterday's conversation, it was very unlikely she wants to see me. What if Lena asked me why I was looking for her? Why was I worrying? I didn't know why myself. Probably it's because she was absent for too long. Maybe if it wasn't her, but some other person who I know, I'd been worried the same way. Maybe if I'd behaved differently yesterday, she would not have disappeared today. I'm not sure, but I'll try to come up with something adequate. I took another step and stopped again. Probably, maybe, perhaps, not sure. Again, these words appeared in my mind, in my life. Unconsciously, without my will. But why? For what purpose? I have to make a decision once and for all. Although, there are two simple words. Yes and no. Finally, it's all clear. I went to the court, approached Lena, smiled, and said, "Hey!" She turned and looked at me.
Hi.
"You were absent all day."
Yes. I was walking around.
Everything she said was quiet and calm, with no trace of embarrassment or shyness. No emotions at all, in fact. We were worried about you, though the only one who was worried was me.
You shouldn't have.
But you can't just disappear like that. I tried to smile and make my words not sound like a reproach.
I don't think that anybody cares about that.
I care, for one.
Why?
I read surprise in her eyes. Because it's not right. No matter how I tried to be perfectly honest, it came out wrong.
I see. Okay, I won't do this again.
It seemed like the conversation was not interesting her. Silence followed. I just didn't know what else to say, and Lena seemed to be quite content with silence. "Are you any good?" I finally said, pointing at the racket.
Not very.
"If you want to,
No, I don't."
She walked to the bench and put down her racket and birdie. "Okay." To tell the truth, I did not expect that response.
Wanna look at the stars together?
Yeah, of course. I sat down beside her. Lena intently studied the sky. Lots of small lights shined above me. Some of them were brighter, some were barely visible. Never really understood what people see in just sitting back and looking at the stars. After all, here on Earth they're just small dots of light, and it's unlikely that many people know what kind of celestial bodies they are, as well as their size and how far they are from us. Of course, it's so romantic to just enjoy the light of distant stars, but for me, it was like staring at a brick wall. It also has its potholes, unevenness in the brickwork, patterns on the stone. A stellar sky in miniature. "So what do you see there?"
Stars.
She said mysteriously with her head up. "Yes, I know, I see them too, but what's so special about them?"
I don't know. It seems they talk to me. There are other people there. They have their own life, probably much better than ours. And they too look at the sky and see Earth, me and you.
Voices of the distant stars. I had already heard that somewhere else.
You can call it that.
Interesting theory.
No, the theory is quite common.
Lena looked at me. In the dim moonlight, I noticed a small tear rolling down her cheek, or at least I thought I did. I guess I'm just a more, let's say, practical person. She said nothing, just stared at the sky again. But if you think about it, of course, there's endless interstellar space. Millions of planets, hundreds of galaxies. It's fascinating. My voice sounded unnaturally excited.
You don't need to talk about all these things.
About what?
About this. About everything.
No, the stars are really beautiful.
Why did you come?
Now she was crying for sure. I was looking for you.
Why?
I don't know why, I just was.
You found me. Happy now?
Well, I mumbled.
Why didn't you go to Alyssa?
What does she have to do with it?
Are you trying to say that it's not about her?
Yes, that is exactly what I'm trying to say. Why did you bring this topic up again? I thought we already cleared everything up. Of course we didn't clear anything up. To be precise, we didn't even start to. However, I don't understand why all this is necessary.
You think I really want to talk about it myself?
If you don't, then why?
Because it's because of you.
Because of me what?
You and Alyssa.
Me and Alyssa what? We don't have a relationship. We don't have anything at all.
Don't lie to me.
Lena turned away, sobbing quietly. Why is this so important to her? What else can I say if you don't believe me?
Tell me the truth.
I already told you.
Then go to her.
Why should I go to her? I don't want to go anywhere.
Why are you sitting here and torturing me?
Oh Lord, how am I torturing you? Lena didn't answer. I've been looking for you for the entire day because I was worried. I came here because you're here. I'm sitting here because I want to be here. What don't you understand? She stopped crying for a moment.
Is that true?
Of course.
I mean something to you?
Even taking into account all the things I've just said, this question came at me unexpectedly. Well, yes.
If only you could hear yourself now.
She cried, got up, and walked briskly towards the exit of the sports ground. Wait! I caught up with her, grabbed her arm, but she pulled out of my grip.
Don't touch me!
Now Lena was a totally different person. And I couldn't say that she was aggressive, assertive, or super strong-willed. She just had no doubts about what she was doing. Wait, what did I say? That's all true.
Save this nonsense for her.
I tried to stop Lena once again, but she glared at me so strongly that I did not dare to argue. Just imagine how I feel. You make up a bunch of stupid things and now you think that I'm guilty of all mortal sins.
Why should you care?
I should. She stopped for a moment and looked at me.
It's all lies.
In my anger, I banged my forehead on an iron post.
You can just beat yourself up here.
I'd seen Lena be many things, but not ruthless and indifferent. Wait, let's talk calmly.
We have nothing to talk about.
She crossed the football ground and I trailed behind, trying in vain to persuade her to listen to me. I don't know why I'm doing all this, to prove that I'm right? So I won't be misunderstood? So I will look better in her eyes? Or is there some other reason? In any case, at that moment I just felt that it was necessary. We came to the square. Lena was pretty fast, but I could barely keep up with her. I had to say something. My head was filled with different options, but nothing suitable. Wait, no answer. Listen, no answer. Will you stop it? No answer. We'll wake the whole camp.
So what? What's the difference?
Strange, but at that moment, I was worried about our behavior than Lena. She stopped.
Thanks for accompanying me. I'll go alone now.
Lena said bitterly. You haven't listened to me yet.
To me, it seems like I've already listened several times.
So, what do you want from me?
Me? From you? Nothing at all.
She sounded much more confident than me. There was no trace of doubt in her eyes. What can I say? What can I do? Damn it. I was ready to burst into tears.
Don't get so emotional. Nothing happened.
Nothing happened. Something definitely happened.
You won't lose anything if you pay no attention to me.
Let me decide that.
No, seriously, why? There are so many pleasant activities you could choose to do. Well, to be honest, I don't need it anyway.
If you don't need it, why do you constantly mention Alyssa? Lena's face changed.
This is none of your business, get it?
Now it's not. No, now it's none of my business. She looked at me as if she was ready to kill.
Why are you bothering me? You have her, so go to her. She won't refuse, I assure you.
Lena started screaming, her hair disheveled, her face flushed, and her eyes bloodshot. Calm down. I won't go to her. Why do you even think so? Just see. I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere. She seemed to calm down a bit. What's going on here? I turned around and saw Alyssa lazily chewing a bun. In the wrong place at the wrong time. The situation is a perfect example. I just froze in surprise, not knowing what to say. But Lena was smarter.
Time to pass him on. Catch.
Alyssa looked surprised. No wonder she hadn't heard the entire conversation.
What? I said catch.
Within a moment, Lena became like she was before, calm and unruffled.
What should I catch? Him.
She pointed her finger at me with disgust.
He complains about he loves you, how he cannot live without you, and stuff like that. What?
Alyssa's eyes popped open wide. No, that's all wrong. Lena was just joking. I giggled nervously.
Why? That's exactly what's happening.
Listen, everything has its limits, I said quietly to her. Do you want there to be victims?
Why? I already suggested to you should go to her.
I don't know what you're talking about here, but don't involve me.
You don't know?
Lena said softly, but her voice had a trace of rage in it.
The same thing again.
Alyssa looked at her frightened.
Listen, I understand you. Well, but I don't know, really. Not a single word. Not even a single thought about him, I swear. You don't know?
Oh, shit! Whoa! Fuck me! Lena jumped at her, and before I realized, smashed Alyssa with a powerful right hook. Well, I understand a simple slap, but such a blow could break someone's jaw. Alyssa collapsed and seemed to lose consciousness. What should I do? Help Alyssa! Holy fuck! Lena is crazy! What are you doing? I ran over to the fallen girl and tried to figure out if she was alive at all. Are you completely out of your mind? If you want me to leave, just shut up or do anything else, fine, but this is turning into a complete madhouse. Maybe you need a straitjacket so nobody else will get injured. Lena stood, clenching her fist. You could even break your hand with such a blow.
You don't understand anything.
The tears welled up, flowing down her face, and she fled from the square. It seemed to me that I could still hear Lena sobbing while I was bringing Alyssa around. She finally came back to consciousness. You alive? Are you okay? Alyssa moved her jaw from left to right.
I'll live.
I helped her up.
I told you about her.
Well, that doesn't matter now. You have to get to the infirmary.
It's too late for the infirmary.
I'll have a good night's rest, and in the morning I'll go there. Okay, then I'll go with you.
Can't refuse,
Alyssa said, trying to give a smile. All the way we kept silent. Why does that cat keep on showing up? The cat showed up at the infirmary, now it's here. Behind Alyssa. She was probably not really able to talk, and I couldn't find the right words to say. Fucking Australians coming out of my fucking voice box here. I couldn't find the right words to say. All of this was a real shock for me. I found myself a mere spectator of a drama in which I just took on the main part. See, look, the cat! After the door closed behind Alyssa, I stood for a long time and looked at her cabin. What should I do after all this? Fatigue overcame me, I had to sleep. I think Lena is now in a state in which she is unlikely to adequately assess reality. Completely broken. I fell down onto the bed and drifted to sleep. Shit! Holy fuck, man. Lena's crazy. But it does go to say, the quiet ones are always crazy ones. Definitely for sure. Wait, what? Somehow I woke up in my apartment. It didn't trigger any emotions at all, yet another day of my life, that's all. I got out of bed and went up to the computer. A message window flashed on the taskbar. I sat down and stared at the monitor. Somebody wrote to me, and that means that somebody still needs me. This message contains only 2 words, wake up. What do they want from me? An unknown ID? Is that spam? What does it mean, wake up? I'm not sleeping anymore. The window still kept flashing. I tried to close it but failed. Instead, yet another one popped out, and another one, and another one. All of them contained the word the same, wake up. What the hell do you want from me? I screamed. Soon the whole screen was blazing with identical messages. I couldn't bear it anymore. I grabbed it, smashed it against the wall with all my strength. The phone rang. Strange. Who could that be? I picked up the phone and just heard wake up. On the other end, thousands of voices, men, women, children, screaming, wake up! I smashed the phone on the floor, but it didn't break and kept ringing. Fuck me, okay. In a moment, the whole room was filled with strangers. They were grabbing my hands, peering into my eyes and screaming, wake up! Jesus Christ, okay, that's a fucking nightmare. I jumped off my bed in a cold sweat. Huh, what a dream. Came to my senses in a couple of minutes and took a look at the clock. It's 5 p.m. How long have I slept? All the events of yesterday flew through my head, searching for Lena, the devastating conversation, Alyssa defeated. I really have to talk with her. Maybe she cooled down overnight. I dressed up, went out of the cabin, hesitated a little while gathering my thoughts, and headed to Lena's cabin. What shall I say? How do I begin the conversation? I can't just go with, "Hi, how are you? I was just passing by." There's no way I should lecture her straight off the bat. Not reaching a specific solution, I knocked. Nobody answered. I knocked again, then pulled on the doorknob. It's not locked. That's odd. However, there's nobody inside. That means Lena's not here. I'll grab some food. I might find her in the canteen. Going along the rows of cabins, I didn't meet a single pioneer. That's odd too. It's always crowded here at this time of day. Nobody was at the square either. Coming up to the canteen, I started to get seriously concerned. It's time for dinner, but there was no signs of hungry pioneers. If only it was just that the canteen was closed. Looks like something has happened during the day. I sat down on the porch and started to consider the situation. All the pioneers were gone, without any warning. Well, of course, it's hard to say that this camp, or my way of arriving here, is normal, but I hadn't encountered any completely inexplicable stuff during this week yet. There were lots of strange things, but maybe they're hiding in that bunker. I chuckled aloud. While all this is very, to put it mildly, mysterious, I was nowhere near experiencing a panic attack.
No, it's just that they've left.
I almost jumped out of my skin. Lena was standing right next to me. You can't just sneak up on people like that. You nearly gave me a heart attack.
Sorry,
She said calmly. Now her words dawned me. Left. Hold on a sec. What do you mean by just left?
the session's over.
The camp leader?
She had some business to take care of in town, so she went with them.
Okay, and what about you?
I stayed.
Lena was talking with complete calmness as if everything that has happened is completely normal and routine. How and why is that?
What's the problem? When the session is over, the children depart for their homes, don't they?
And when was it decided that today is the last day of the session?
You won't believe this, but on the very first day. Moreover, Over announced this at lineup.
Yeah, even at those lineups that I attended, the last thing that crossed my mind was listening to the camp leader's announcements. Then why didn't anyone tell me anything? I waited for a chance to get out of this damn camp for so long, and when it finally appeared, I obviously slept through it. Well, that's exactly my style.
I asked them not to.
Even if you would ask not to, Olga... Hold on, what?
I asked for it.
I said Lena with some confidence. And what? You asked them to leave me behind too?
Yes.
Don't you think that's a little absolutely wrong? I started shouting.
Nope, it's perfectly normal.
I took a good look at Lena. Not a single emotion had crossed her face since the beginning of our talk. It looks like the girl that's standing right in front of me now is not the kind of girl that's afraid of crickets, blushes at every occasion, and reads romance novels. Okay, I got it. Looks like the situation is directly connected to my mystical arrival at this camp. Just who are you?
Me? This morning I was Lena.
She replied patiently. Oh yeah, and I'm Optimus Prime, born 9 million years ago in the highlands of Scotland. I wasn't afraid of her or anything around myself at the moment. I was just bursting with anger from within.
Nice to meet you, I'm Lena.
Okay, now let's get serious. I think what you're saying is frankly impossible. Today, as it turns out, is the last day. Somehow, I don't know a thing about it, and the camp leader departs with everyone, leaving me behind just because you asked for it? Don't you find that all somewhat abnormal?
Maybe I do.
Are you hiding something?
Maybe I am.
Then spit out everything you've got.
I told you already.
I buried my face in my hands and took a deep breath. Okay, and what am I supposed to do in this situation?
I don't know.
What are you going to do?
I don't know. I'll go with the flow.
Well, here's the flow. I hissed abruptly, spreading my hands.
Why are you worrying so much?
For the first time, a flicker of interest has appeared on her face. And how do you expect me to feel? Glad?
Well, not really, but you yourself wanted it.
Me? You're mad.
And who said yesterday that he cares and that he wants to be with me?
What's that got to do with this? I pretended not to understand, but it was finally starting to dawn on me what she was driving at.
Your wish was granted.
Yeah, sure, I mumbled under my breath. Well, here I am with you. That doesn't explain in any way what happened.
There was always a couple of tricks that could help one succeed.
And you? That is how...
Yes.
A smile crossed her face. If I'd known that you're so cunning from the very beginning, to tell the truth, I kinda like this whole situation. Well, not really like, but I was curious. Of course, I'm very sorry that I couldn't have escaped with everyone else. However, I'm having a word that I can't say with Lena now. That might mean that I'll get a chance to see the real her. And all the answers that I was longing for could be right here and not in some mysterious town which everyone else had headed for. Okay, so what are we going to do now?
We?
She smiled. Yeah, we. We're the only ones staying here. Canteen's closed and I seriously doubt there's any food left there anyway. Of course, Olga should return in the foreseeable future, but...
Does it matter?
Okay, it doesn't matter. Any suggestions?
What do you want?
She asked with a sly smile. I would have grabbed something to eat, and then, I don't know.
Well, let's go and have something.
Where to?
There should be some food left in my cabin.
Okay, deal. This is fucking creepy, man. We went in and Lena rummaged around in the desk drawer.
Well, there are cookies. Want some?
She handed me a half-open pack of biscuits. Oh, how cute. I sneered.
Why?
Biscuits. Like in my childhood.
I guess.
She smiled and sat next to me. Well? I asked with my mouth full.
What?
So what are we gonna do?
I don't know.
She wistfully gazed out the window.
Well, what do you want?
But really, what do I want? A mere half hour ago, my only thought was to get away from this damn camp. But now, right here next to her, something seemed to change. Well, I don't know either.
Think harder.
She drew herself closer and gazed into my eyes. Well, my face was blushing, and my mind was racing. Not just because I was in such an extreme proximity to a girl that quite clearly wants something from me, but mainly because that girl was Lena.
Well?
She studied me closely. Lena,
What?
Say that she didn't look herself was nothing. I was not afraid of this metamorphosis at all. Rather, I was afraid of myself. What could I do in such a situation?
Didn't you want to be with me?
She whispered in my ear seductively. Oh God. Oh God, what? I did. I do.
Then what's the problem?
It's all... So, besides, I have some other circumstances.
What circumstances?
She pulled away from me. Well, various circumstances.
You don't prefer, do you?
Lena laughed. Well, no, how could you think that? Looks like I blushed even harder.
Well, then what's the problem?
Are you sure that you want that? I tried hard to change the subject. After all, just a week ago, I had my own normal life. A life where everything was strictly tied up and well organized, and where there was no place for girls. Now I'm in some kind of mysterious camp with Lena sitting next to me and hinting towards something. How should I behave in such a situation? Run the other way! I'm just saying, just run the other way. This is not great.
Yes.
She frowned.
Of course I do. What's the problem?
Well, I was behaving like I wasn't 17, which was how I look now, as if I was much younger.
Mine too.
She smiled. I'd decide what to do next. Now, after the session was closed and all the pioneers were gone, I'd seek the answers. Above all, I just had to beware of this girl that could change her behavior and even her character so easily at will. But at that exact moment, I was possessed by only one thought. Oh, what the hell? Well, if you don't mind... And they have sex! I closed my eyes. She said nothing, just smiled and moved even closer. Our lips locked in a long kiss. I forgot everything at that moment. I forgot about this weird camp. I forgot about the local pioneers that were in fact gone. I forgot about our wacky camp leader. I feel like she, in the middle of it, this being the bad ending, in the middle of it, she's just gonna pull out a knife and just stab me multiple times. I forgot about my past life and about my future, if it would ever come. Right now, the only one who mattered was Lena. Her soft lips, her warmth, then poured deep into my soul, burning me from the inside. I gently moved her aside. Hold on. Don't you think that this is way too fast?
Why?
She smiled and looked at me in such a way that I immediately felt ready to drown in her eyes.
You're sure, aren't you?
I am, I whispered quietly. At that exact moment, I truly loved Lena. I wanted to hold her tighter and never let go. And she felt the same, of course. Time flashed by the way too fast, and we became as one. Jesus Christ. When I woke up, it was already dark outside. I got out of bed, put on my trousers, and I strolled around the room. What was that? Just an animal instinct, or maybe it was something more. No, it's all wrong. Completely wrong. I'm stuck in this camp. I've lost my chance to get out of here, and most of all, I'm with a girl who probably has a split personality and maniac depressive disorder. I think so! I looked at the sleeping Lena. In a way, she's marvelous. Everything that happened between us literally only a couple hours ago flashed before my eyes, and I felt shivers up my spine. Now, I don't know if it's not right or wrong, but if I could have returned back in time, I would have done exactly the same thing. I smiled widely and sat down next to her on the bed. It's close to 10 p.m. Well, it's probably time to get up. I gave Lena a gentle nudge on her shoulder. She opened her eyes. Good morning. Well, evening, in fact.
Hey.
She smiled tenderly. Time to get up, sleepyhead.
Are you in a hurry?
Well, no, but we're completely alone together in this camp.
So what?
She took a good look at me. Well, nothing. When will Olga return?
Is it that important to you?
She got a heavy look on her face. Well, without food, we're going to die here. I laughed.
You're free to leave, then.
She looked away towards the wall. But how can I leave?
On the bus, of course.
There are no buses here.
Why do you think there's a bus stop for bus route 410 here?
Frankly, I don't know.
I told Olga that I had some matters to urgently resolve here with you and that we'd come later.
What? I felt like I'd been struck by lightning. I didn't know what I should be more surprised about. The fact that there are buses passing here, or by the fact that the camp leader agreed to leave 2 pioneers behind an empty camp just like that.
What I said.
You mean that we can leave?
Go on, no one's holding you.
She said all that while sitting utterly still. In fact, so still that her words gave me cold chills. Okay, I'm sorry that I reacted that way. It's just everything that's happened today has been a total surprise for me.
You didn't look too surprised a few hours ago.
I probably said something wrong, completely wrong. Well, don't get offended. We won't be staying here till the end of times, right? If there is a way to leave. Lena didn't say anything. I looked at her back and tried to understand what she's thinking.
Fine,
she exclaimed cheerfully after a pause and then jumped off the bed and started to dress quickly.
Come on, pack your stuff. Meet me in the square in 10 minutes.
Lena leaned over me and gave me a passionate kiss. All right. I stepped out of her cabin and ran to the camp leader's cabin. Frankly speaking, I had almost nothing to pack. Tossed my winter clothes into a bag, shoved my phone into my pocket, and headed to the square. She's gonna fucking stab me, isn't she? 15 minutes have passed already, but Lena still wasn't here. I justified it with the fact that she has lots of stuff to pack, and accordingly, she needs much more time to get ready. However, she didn't come even in half an hour, and I started to suspect something. My legs ushered me to her cabin before I realized it. I flung the door wide open and saw Lena lying on the bed. What? What? Everything around her was soaked in blood. The bed sheets, the blanket, the floor was wet with blood, and I can see a huge slit on Lena's forearm. What the fuck, man? What? I ran to her and started shaking her by the shoulders. Lena, why? She was still conscious.
Hi, Simeon.
A weak smile froze on her lips. Hang on, hey, don't you pass out. I'll think of something right now. Listen, everything's gonna be fine. You're not gonna die. Of course, I didn't believe it myself. Lena had slit her veins from her elbow all the way down to her wrist. It was a deep cut, and given all the time we spent waiting for her at the square, she bled a lot. Probably even an ambulance wouldn't do anything by now, and here in the empty camp, away from the world, Lena had zero chance of survival. How stupid can you be? I embraced and held her tightly. Tears were running down my cheeks, desperate disappearing in her hair. Never cried so hard in my entire life. Fool, why did you have to cut down the road? Everyone else does it across the street and you cut down the road.
Sorry. It happened as it did.
She muttered faintly. But why? Why?
I'm tired. So tired.
Lena went silent. I looked straight into her eyes. She was still conscious, but the last flicker of life was quickly dying in her.
I'm so tired of it all. Wearing a mask, suffering. I just want to be with you. But you've left me too.
I never went anywhere. Here I am. Why? What have you done?
I'm sorry.
I was choked with tears, unable to say anything.
I'm sorry. I'll be seeing you later.
I embraced her even tighter. Lena's breath was getting weaker, and soon enough, it stopped forever. Horror struck, I jumped away from the bed. My eyes went dark, and my heart was beating wildly, and I spotted the blood-stained knife lying on the floor. A moment later, I was holding it in my hands. The blade halted a hair's breadth away from my wrist. But why? How would that help? I sat there completely freaked out and just stared at Lena. No, you aren't dead. I exploded with hysterical laughter. Come on, sleepyhead. It's time to wake up. I said softly and shook her by the shoulders, but Lena didn't wake up. What am I? What have I done? Jesus Christ, man, I wasn't fucking expecting that! I jumped out of the cabin in horror and ran like mad. Don't know how much time has passed, but finally I wore myself out and collapsed on the ground. Hostile silence was all around me, and only the stars looked down on me in quiet rebuke. These were the same stars that Lena admired yesterday. Yet another crying spell tore me apart. Why? Why did she do it? Because I left her? Where had I gone? I never left her, and I wasn't going to. Only at this moment did I realize that she was truly important to me. I realized that despite all her quirks, everything that happened today, everything that happened during the short period of our acquaintance, she'd suddenly become the most precious thing in my life. And I instantly forgot about her feelings, as soon as I heard about that damned bus. Indeed, it can't justify her act, but how could I have stopped thinking of her at all? I lay there for a long time watching the stars. The trees were peacefully swaying in a gentle night breeze above my head. The trees didn't give a damn about what was happening to me. The landscape seemed familiar. Suppressing my tears, I headed back towards the camp. Everything here seemed to be the same as yesterday, a few days ago. The square, Genda's memorial, the cabins of the pioneers, Lena's cabin. I was all torn up inside. It felt like the pain would tear my body into millions of little pieces any moment now. I fell to my knees and began punching the ground until my fists were completely stained with blood. If only I'd realized just a bit earlier, just a moment earlier. I'm not asking for more. She was so... Even the slightest hint was enough for her. Only at this moment did I realize that Lena had died. Part of me had died with her. Probably the best part of me that I would call the best. Came to my senses after a while standing in her cabin. Oh, that's happening again! The blood had dried up already. The moonlight was no longer reflected in it. I went to her bed and sat down next to Lena's body. I was terribly afraid to be here, but I felt that I had to tell her something. I'm sorry, I started. It's far too late, of course, but if you can hear me out there somewhere, just remember, please. I'll love you forever, for the rest of my life. And that was the plain truth. I'm sorry that I ignored your feelings. I'm sorry that I always thought only about myself. I'm sorry for everything. It was me who should have died, not you. I covered my body with a blanket and slowly left the cabin. I regained consciousness at the bus stop. So running away, scumbag, I muttered darkly to myself. I couldn't stand to stay a single minute longer in this camp. Lena will never come back. I can't justify what I've done. I'll just wait for the bus that will take me away from here. I didn't give the slightest damn about what's going to happen to me tomorrow, or an hour. I don't care about answers. I don't care about how I got here. Soon enough, I saw a glimmer of dim light in the distance. Somehow I wasn't surprised at all. In a minute, I was sitting in an empty number 410 bus and was looking into the dark of the night through a weather-beaten window. My mind was blank. Everything that makes us human, feelings, emotions, aspirations, suffering, I left it all back there in that pioneer camp. Now all I have is this night and the empty bus. There was no more future, no more present. If I died tomorrow, that would only mean that yet another human body had ceased to exist. The real me died there a few hours ago. Jesus fucking Christ, man. It's always the quiet ones, man. It's always the quiet ones. I don't know how much time passed, but the fatigue overtook me. I wasn't going to fight it, as it made absolutely no difference whether I'm sleeping or awake. I could barely hold my eyes open. Soon enough, I passed out. Lena needed to go and see someone. Like, holy fucking shit, man. I should never have even tried, man. There are moments when reality becomes unimportant, insignificant, unworthy of attention. There are moments when your spiritual torment overshadows everything else. And even if the world ended, you would not notice. If a knife were to pierce you, you would not notice. Even if boiling for eternity in the cauldrons of hell would seem like just a minor inconvenience. After all, there are problems more important than that. When I opened my eyes, I realized that something is wrong. It took a while for clarity of thought to return. Finally, I realized that I'm not in a bus, but in my old apartment. Well, that was to be expected. As if I'd spent a whole week preparing for an exam and at the last minute had spectacularly failed. And the result of this failure was my return to the real world. However, now it didn't seem any more real to me than the Soviet camp, pioneer camp. No wonder, reality is what you can hear, feel, touch, and taste, and all that was really there. That world was real to the smallest detail. Sometimes it seemed more like it was my past life that was a fiction. And now I have to remember how to exist here. Though why? I felt like a man who had been thrown out of the car at full speed without even noticing it. It was left lying on a roadside with broken arms and legs while the car disappeared into the night, taking with it the last traces of hope. Lena. Her image surfaced in my fevered brain so clearly that I wanted to cry unbearably. No, I wanted to shout, tearing out clumps of hair, smashing my fists on the wall while making inhuman screams. However, my soul was empty. I tried in vain to find at least the echoes of pain, guilt, or pity for her, but nothing came. I was just lying here, staring at the ceiling. I was not at all interested in how or why I came back. After all, who cares about the process of selling your soul to the devil? All the illegal formalities of the contract, signatures, stamps, and seals. What is more important is the result. And this is the result I got. No, it's not that I was sent back to reality. If I had gotten to the destination on that bus, I would hardly have changed anything for me. In this case, the result is what happened to Lena. And the reason is my actions. I was absolutely sure about that. After all, she could not just do that for no reason. No, Lena was not like that. It was all my fault. It was hard to believe, knowing that you were the reason for someone else's death. As if I personally held the knife, calmly and carefully slid open her wrist and watched her die, and then just ran away. Of course, I couldn't do anything in that situation, but I felt that I'd behaved like a coward. No, even worse. Although it doesn't really matter what the best definition of my actions is, I cursed myself for remaining so calm while thinking about this situation. After all, I should be mourning Lena and blaming myself. But now nothing is up to me. If I was not able to back then, I started shivering. My body was trembling and it was getting hard to breathe. Self-preservation instincts overtook guilt for a while, and I staggered to the kitchen to drink a sedative. It can always be found in the cupboard of every antisocial person like me. Once I'd taken half of the tablets that were in the packet, I returned to the room and turned on the computer. Remaining in silence was unbearable. I played the first random song and soon realized that was probably the most depressing piece of music I had on my hard drive. However, I didn't want to turn it off. The background noise helped dampen my thoughts. I had to decide what to do next with my life. I was sure about one thing. Everything that happened in the camp, my appearance in it, my unexpected return, I didn't care about any of it. Not just that, I didn't care about the context or the reason for those events either. The only thing that mattered was Lena. I horribly stumbled over the word was. Indeed, she's gone. Of course, it's possible that it was just a dream, and she never existed in the first place. But then again, our real world could just be someone's raving delusion as well. Why not? People suffer from losing their loved ones here. Why should I think of Lena's death there as just the result of my sick imagination? I saw it all with my own eyes. I felt the shock, fear, and fright. Damn it! For me, it's not that it was reality. It still is reality, and is and will be. And I'm sure I'm not daydreaming. Though it would be better if I dreamt it. The dreadful howl of guitars boomed from the speakers. It sounded like a requiem for me. Now I have to live with this sense of guilt? No, I won't take it! My mind was exactly as a paragon of stability, but not even a man with a stable mind could withstand shocks like this. And I already feel that I'm going mad. I tried to suppress all these thoughts. No, not to forget, just to give myself some rest. Just for a minute. But it didn't work. Pain racked my body again and again. I was already starting to feel it physically. However, physical pain is always weaker than mental. I fell to the floor, clasped my knees, and began rocking back and forth in a fetal position. Blood pounded in my head so heavily that it felt like my skull could shatter at any moment now. I hit a table leg, and a little candle rolled down from under a pillow of papers. A little one, 20 centimeters long. It was bent at almost a 90-degree angle, but still retained its shape. The wick protruded from one end. I searched for a lighter and lit up the candle. Let it be in the memory of Lena. Maybe in another world she is feeling better then. I sat on the floor and watched it, as the wax slowly dripped onto my fingers. I felt no pain at all. Probably my nervous system was so exhausted that it was unable to transmit the pain impulses to my brain. The fire calmed me a little. I just watched the flame and did not think about anything. Finally, at least some peace of mind. The candle was halfway done. Suddenly I imagined that my life is this very candle. Not just mine, any person's life. All that we have been given from above is its full length. But can anything happen? The wind may blow, the holding hand may tremble, or the wick may burn out, and a life will end before it should have. But after all, each candle is different. As such as this one, 9 cents, one twice as thick, 20 and huge ones, as thick as the handle of a shovel, 185. I wonder, did Lena's candle burn out ahead of its time? Or was it just smaller than the other ones? Though I doubt there can be one smaller than mine. I rotated the candle in my hands. How interesting is that? I can blow out the flame any moment and that's it. But in the meantime, life is not wax. You can combine 2 small candles to make one of medium size. I would love to give the remains of mine to Lena, to anyone who needs it more than I do. Why do I need it? I do not feel pain from the heat of wax. Its flame doesn't give me any warmth. It hardly illuminates the room. To put it bluntly, a waste of ropes, wax, and oxygen. Blew out the candle. This action evoked absolutely no emotions in me. I slowly stood up, headed to the bathroom. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck! Jesus Christ! Cut down the road, not across the street. Everyone else cuts across, and going right down. The image of Lena appeared before my eyes. She was smiling. We'll definitely meet up again. I'm so sorry. Warm water, shadows, and dying dreams have finally brought me some peace. It really might be that I never actually went to that camp, or that I never actually came back. Does it really matter now? I almost physically felt Lena's embrace. Everything will be alright. We'll catch the bus together and ride it to the place where nobody will find us. Where we'll be happy. My strength left me and I started sinking in the water that was already spilling over the edge of the tub. We will surely meet. Forgive me. What the fuck, man? Jesus Christ. Holy shit, that was fucked. I did not expect that ending. Holy shit. Oh, even this is different. Oh, fuck. That ending was... Holy shit. I'm fucked up now. Holy fucking shit. Holy fuck, okay. Well, let's just go and let's just do the good ending. Holy fuck. Now I know what Carabone was saying when he goes, oh no, he doesn't know. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, well let's just do the good ending then. Holy fuck, man. That was some intense shit. Holy fuck, okay. I'll come back if anything's different.
Let's go. Okay, that's fine.
Slavia grabbed the second basket and ventured to the opposite of the island. Well, let's go.
Yeah.
I can't see it the same anymore, man. It's different. It's fucking different now. Lena smiled. Just pay attention, don't leave a single berry behind.
You too.
So it was harvest time. Indeed, the strawberries here were delicious. I could probably eat them if I didn't eat them all if I didn't stop myself in time. Despite being wild grown, the berries were close to garden ones in a size, and had a rich red color, so it was clear that our visit here wasn't in vain. Lena followed me closely as we had only one basket for the both of us. I felt like a real mushroom picker, examining each shrub and carefully pawing the grass.
Well, you're much better than me.
Am I? Frankly, I'm not even counting them.
Yeah, right. You are.
The basket was already half full. You must enjoy nature, right?
I do.
The bright sun rays pierced the top trees, blinded me for a second. I sat down on the ground and helped and leaned against a tree. Still, so beautiful here. Lena sat down next to me, so close that our elbows touched.
Yeah.
We just sat and enjoyed that moment. It seemed like time stood still. The wind gently shook the trees, some bugs lazily hopped around the grass, and splashes of sunlight played on the faraway water surface. Lena put her head on my shoulder. I was surprised at first, but then I heard her regular breathing and thought that it's just a matter of course. She felt drowsy and wanted to take a quick nap. I just sat there and didn't think of anything for a few minutes. But then words started crossing my mind with ultrasonic speed. Lena, so close, sleeping, so warm, so gentle. Feelings. I gazed at her. So she had such a serene, such a tranquil look on her face. It seemed that right now she's not here, but in some kind of better world. I don't know what would have happened the next moment if I didn't hear the voice of Slavia.
Semyon! Lena!
I shook my head from side to side a few times to come to my senses. Lena started to wake up. She opened her eyes and gave me an empty look. Have a nice dream?
Huh?
Suddenly realizing that she had dozed off leaning on my shoulder, Lena blushed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine. Slavia came over to us, so Lena rushed to get up.
So how much have you got?
I sighed.
It's not a lot.
Her basket was filled with strawberries to the brim.
Well, it's enough anyway. It's time to get back.
I grabbed the basket and we headed back to the boat. We headed back to the boat? The way back took less time as I tried to concentrate on rowing and ignoring everything else. My only wish was to get back alive without consequences. Oh, okay, there we go. So nothing, so I'll go thanks to the girls' help. And then we gotta skip all this. To the infirmary. To the library. Yes. And then the walk. Oh god, so much. Try to find out what Alyssa and Lena are arguing about. Let's see if anything is different. No, nothing was different. That's all still the same. That's all different. Oh, that's all the same. Okay, I think it's just about all the same, apart from what day 7 is going to be. Help Alyssa. Yep. It's about all the same. She's scary as balls, yo. Oh, this is the only different part. I had absolutely no desire to wake Lena up. It was an unspeakable pleasure just watching how she sleeps. People say that sleep reveals the true face of a person. I heard a legend that some ancient civilization had a custom before getting married. A woman watches her fiancé sleeping for 3 nights. And then she decided whether to marry him or not. Bearing that in mind, I could confidently say that Lena's face showed nothing but goodness, kindness, and childlike naivety. Could this really be the girl that knocked Alyssa out yesterday? Well, whatever it may be, everything's already happened. I've already seen Lena like that. The humility for the first few days, the hysterics back there on the island, the rage at the square yesterday, her passion today. How could one single human cope with so many opposing personality traits? Might it be the case that she really has a double, triple, even quadruple split personality? I don't know how much time I spent just watching Lena sleep. Might have been a couple of minutes, or it might have been a couple hours. Finally she awakened.
Good morning.
Lena smiled tenderly.
Come here.
She rose and hugged me. I didn't resist and plopped down on the bed.
You're so wonderful.
She whispered in my ear, kissing my neck. You too. My voice hesitated.
Want to do it again?
She asked playfully. Hold on. I moved her away gently. You know, all this is anything but simple. When we just met, you seemed to be one person. Then you seemed to be another. And today, now I can't understand at all who you really are. Yet again, what you did to Alyssa.
Her again?
Lena covered up with a blanket and turned away.
Didn't you like what we did? Want to do it with her too? Now I won't hold you back. Come on, compare us. I'll leave you her address. You can't tell me who's better, or we can have a threesome.
She sounded like she wasn't talking about me or... This sounds like my ex-girlfriend. 100%. This sounds like my ex-girlfriend from when I was 15 years old. Holy fucking shit, I'm reliving it. Holy fucking shit. Just let me kind of process this shit again. No, it's not processing. PTSD is back. Holy shit. She sounded like she wasn't talking about me or her. Like she was talking about complete strangers. Oh, there you go again. I sighed. Throughout today, you should have realized that the last person I would think about now would be Alyssa.
Okay, you're right.
She turned to me, smiled, and hugged me tightly. Hold on. I still have to understand. I don't like Lena. I don't like her at all. I thought she was a quiet, cute girl, but she's just not.
Why?
Can't just simply... Yes, I do care. That's why I really need to know who you really are.
I am. Just me.
She answered in the same languid voice. My brakes started to break from all these emotions. I have to calm down somehow. I jumped to my feet and moved across to sit on the opposite bed.
Fine.
Lena said disappointedly and started to get dressed. I'm not asking for much, just a few answers to a few questions.
Later, it's time to depart.
She interrupted me impassively. What? Where are we going?
What do you mean where? Back to town, of course.
But you told me...
Well, I might have withheld something. In fact, I persuaded Olga that we still had some extremely urgent matters here and we'll come later.
How will we get to town then?
By bus, of course.
There are no buses here. I grinned.
What do you mean, no buses? Of course there are. Route 410.
I didn't know whether I should believe it or not. The situation seemed to be going out of control, but I wouldn't argue. Oh, okay. I managed cautiously.
Come on. Get packed. Meet me at the square in 10 minutes.
Okay. I gave up asking and left the cabin. Frankly speaking, I had almost nothing to pack. I just tossed my winter clothes into a bag and headed to the square. Oh! Oh, she's there! Lena was already waiting for me there with the gym bag on her shoulder. You don't seem to carry a lot of baggage.
It's just enough.
She smiled. Let me carry it.
Please do.
Although her bag seemed almost weightless, a bit of chivalry never hurt anyone. That is true. We were walking, and Lena was constantly telling jokes, anecdotes, funny stories, and never stopped laughing. Now I'd really lost touch with the person next to me. Is she the one I met a week ago, or the one I saw for the first time this morning? When we reached the bus stop, I took out my mobile phone and checked the time. Surprisingly, there was still some power left. It was almost 11 p.m. Isn't it a bit late for buses?
Oh, what is that?
I asked Lena curiously. Oh, just a toy. Take it. It's a gift.
Thank you.
She smiled and took the phone.
What can you play on it?
You'll work it out yourself later. It's not that hard. Anyway, a mobile phone is totally useless here. We waited for about half an hour and Lena just kept talking and talking. Well, I must admit that I found her stories amusing and I felt comfortable with her, but what about the bus? So what about... I didn't finish the sentence as I saw a glimmer of headlights in the distance.
Ah, here it is.
Lena exclaimed enthusiastically. The bus was slowly carrying us away from the Soviet pioneer camp. I just wanted to believe that we'd never ever go back. The darkness beyond the window prevented us from seeing the road, the woods, or the fields. Actually, it might be the case that they're all long gone. We're flying through a void towards the unknown. Anyway, I couldn't care less for the surroundings. I just kept listening to Lena. Perhaps she had said more words today than she had throughout her past life. You know, I interrupted her at last. Still don't understand.
What exactly?
She smiled. How come you could be so hesitant, so humble at first, unable to string two words together, and then like this?
Is it that important?
Yes, for me it is.
Well,
she took a deep breath before answering.
You see, I've always been the way you saw me the first time we met. I was like that in public. I wasn't able to live as I wanted to since childhood, so I put on a mask.
She went silent.
Although, let's not go too deep into that.
Lena laughed and cuddled my arm, pressing her body tightly against me. Okay, I get it. It was probably very hard for her to discuss it indeed. Anyway, I got a lot, even from such a short explanation. But still, can I be sure that you won't turn into that one again? You won't retreat into your shell, won't surrender to your anger and rage.
That depends on you.
Lena smiled slyly. It was just now that I realized that I'm playing a high-stakes game. On the one hand, I've spent a week in this obscure world, just trying to find some answers. I have nothing to my name, nowhere to return to, damn it. On the other hand, there's this girl who obviously matters so much to me. I almost didn't need to think about whether I had any feelings for Lena. I just wanted to be by her side, look at her, listen to her voice. I liked her the way she was. I assured myself that this is it. The real Lena is right in front of me. And now when these thoughts came back about my past life, my mysterious appearance in an 80s pioneer camp, it's just not the time for such thoughts. I feel good right now. Now being close to her, I don't want to return anywhere. I don't want any answers. I don't want to think about what's going to happen tomorrow. If it's up to me, then I just want to believe that you'll always be the way you are now. For this is the way I love you.
And I'll keep being this way as long as we're together.
Yeah, because she'll down the road. She hugged me even tighter. I don't know how long we'd been on the road, but Lena's chatter gradually started to quiet down. She put her head on my shoulder but was still telling me a story about her cat getting into sleeping medicine, getting dizzy and wreaking havoc. I slowly started to doze off. But still, why did you hit Alyssa? She looked at me closely with a serious expression on her face.
I always hated that bitch.
Lena laughed loudly and nuzzled into my shoulder. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Lena is something else. I've dealt with a Lena in my life, and I'm not talking about the good ending Lena. I'm talking about fucking, just, yeah. Not entirely like that, but pretty fucking close. I desperately tried not to fall asleep. It's unknown what's awaiting there after the bus's next turn. Might be a new life waiting for me, or it might be the end of this fairy tale. And I'll be buried in the coffin of the peeling walls and ceiling of my old apartment. And you're fucking right. But it was a losing battle. Morpheus has summoned legions of monsters under the command of fatigue, exhaustion, desolation, and uncertainty. I had no chance to win the battle against these four horsemen of the apocalypse and drifted off to sleep. That was fucking intense, man. Day ...
Wake up!
Consciousness slowly returned to me. This is different. It's like I'm falling from a cliff so high that clouds are drifting nearby. The ground is coming closer, but I'm not afraid that I'll die. My fall slows down and my body is smoothly immersed into the warm ether. I opened my eyes.
You'll sleep through your whole life like that.
Lena looked at me seriously. Oh, what? We're there already?
Where's there?
I looked around. A bench, the square, agenda. But how? I was on the bus, going to the district center.
Why? You were looking at me as if you'd seen a ghost.
But why am I still here? For a second I felt terrible fear. Will I never get out of this place? We were on the bus, together.
On the bus?
Yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yes, yesterday, don't you remember? Lena started thinking.
Yesterday. I don't remember anything like that. Maybe you just had a bad dream.
Consider that all that has happened already seems like a hallucination. This must be a dream within a dream then. Well, let's take it slowly. I try to think logically. Session ended yesterday. All pioneers left, but we stayed. Then we took a bus and we headed to the district center. Lena surely looked perplexed.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding anyone.
Today is the last day.
Wait, so how much time have I spent here? Lena started to count off her fingers.
Looks like 7 days.
Not 8?
It's 7. Definitely 7.
I gave an exhausted sigh and covered my face with my hands. Well, that's another riddle in the long list of this camp's mysteries. Well, okay. Though I have a feeling that we won't manage to leave today either.
Why?
6th sense.
You're acting a bit strange today.
I suppose I have my reasons.
Want to tell me?
I gazed at her attentively. I do. Sure, why not? When I had a real chance to break free from this camp, everything failed. So what do I have to lose now? Or where do I start?
Start from the beginning.
Of course, well, I was born, studied, married. Well, okay, I haven't gotten married yet.
Still have time.
Yes, but, well, in a few words, like, I'm not from this world. From the look she gave me, it was clear she didn't understand me at all. I came here accidentally. Even I don't know how.
So what does your world look like?
Lena asked seriously. It's virtually the same, but 20 years ahead of your world.
Do you already have spaceflight?
Well, if it comes to that, you have it as well. However, we haven't made any great achievements in that field yet.
Sounds interesting.
I was unable to tell if Lena was taking me seriously or just pretending to. I used to live in a completely different place as well, far to the north. Judging from the landscape, in a big city.
I've never been to big cities.
Maybe that's for the best.
Will you show me your house?
Seemed like she was taking this conversation as seriously as I was. Well, I'm not even sure it exists in this world.
Oh, come on.
Lena pouted. Well, sure, I will.
So how did you get here?
One evening, I took a bus, Route 410, and woke up here. I don't know anything more than that.
The 410 route. That's the one that stops just outside the camp.
Yes, but my 410 travels in another place and time.
Are you planning to return?
Lena said and noticed a note of unhappiness in her voice. I have no idea how to.
And if you knew?
You're asking tough questions.
What's wrong?
Nothing, but... See, I only just recently started to adjust being here. The first hours in this camp was such a shock for me that I don't know.
It's okay. You still have time to think about it.
Time to think? Seems that even if Lena believed me, she considers this whole situation just a typical inconvenience and nothing more. Anyway, it's not up to me, possibly even if I do want to stay. See, the one who brought me here can take me back as well.
I believe that any event in a person's life has a reason. Therefore, you were here for some reason.
Lena! Lena brought us here. Lena brought us here in the first place. Maybe.
And if you haven't returned, you must be needed here.
Well, I can't rule out that interpretation.
Hey, time to pack your stuff.
The camp leader's voice sounded from afar.
Hear that?
I don't have much to pack.
But I do. So meet you near the bus.
Would you like to help me?
Nope. Thanks, but there is no need.
Lena smiled and ran up towards the cabin. I remained sitting on the bench trying to cope with the shock. My thoughts were still in chaos, one theory replacing another. On one hand, me being unable to get out of this camp isn't all that odd compared to me finding myself here in the first place, but what now? What am I supposed to do? Is there any chance that I can leave the camp if I try again? Anyway, what's the point of being nervous? By now, I know perfectly well that absolutely nothing is up to me. Maybe I just have to sit back and enjoy the ride. I couldn't help smiling, especially now when I have an additional reason not to be in a hurry to leave. That reason is Lena. Maybe she's right. Maybe I am here for some reason. In the end, even if I can narrow down the possible explanations for my situation to a reasonable minimum, there would still be 1,001. And if I keep exhausting myself analyzing them, I'll just go mad. Maybe it's time to make a choice. Maybe this world is not so bad after all. Especially since the first time in a long time I have something to live for. Still a vague something, but I still have it. It exists. And now I have the power not to simply hold it, but to develop it into something bigger. With such thoughts, I stood up and started to walk to Olga's cabin in order to pack my humble belongings and leave the pioneer camp. This is weird, man. Okay. One may think it's strange, and that's exactly how it seemed to me. But eventually we reached the district center. I eventually got tired in the bus and fell asleep. When I woke up, I ran up and down the aisle of the bus, gasping for air, but soon I realized that this long week is over. At last, I managed to break free from the camp. All the time I spent there seemed like so much longer than 7 days, and now everything is over. Soon after that, events move with frightening speed. No time left for self-analysis or seeking answers. Moreover, from time to time I completely forgot about the camp. Like anyone who found themselves in a completely strange environment, I was completely lost. I had no papers, not even a simple birth certificate, no skills to earn a living. Professions such as computer specialist or call center operator were not in demand. Lena returned to her normal life. She had to graduate from school and get ready to enter university. Pioneer Camp was in the south of the USSR, just as I had assumed. Lena lived in a town with a population of about 100,000. It was easy to get there by bus from the district center. There was nothing special about the town. One big factory, rows of 5-story houses, wooden huts on the outskirts, a grocery store that closed at 7 p.m., and a supermarket, a true Eden for a shopaholic. With choices including rubber winter shoes, women's sheepskin coats, and men's moustache hats. Before, I would already be trying to run away from a place like this, but now it was my home. Cases of starvation were rare in 20th century Europe. I managed to find a job. I was employed as a turner's assistant in a factory, and was also given a room in a hostel. Over time, this initially difficult and strange job started to become a certain satisfaction. Partially, of course, that came from having the ability to buy food. Time passed and I climbed up a career ladder, becoming the head of a whole shift. My colleagues were amazed at my talent and persistence, and so was I. Lena graduated from school and I spent several nights with a calculator, designing diagrams of expenses and incomes, and last made up my mind to propose to Lena. I don't remember now if it took a lot of time for her to think, if she suggested we sign a marriage contract or if she protested because of my lack of dowry. But in a short time, both of us moved into a communal apartment room near the factory that cost 2/3 of my salary. Thanks to free Soviet education for everyone, or maybe thanks to my wife's persistence, eventually I became a part-time student at the local Polytechnic University. At first I protested, saying that a fair proletarian had no need to act like the lousy intellectuals, but then I came to a conclusion that a diploma would make life easier. It wasn't difficult to study thanks to my knowledge from my last attempt at receiving a higher education. Time passed and the country started to change. Of course I knew it would happen, but still, the changes came out of the blue. You could compare it to being caught in an avalanche in the mountains. You can prepare all you like, but it will still bury you anyway. The factory was privatized and then closed down. Kopeyka is a Russian car, very cheap and old. Moonlighting as a private driver in the Kopeyka rattletrap I inherited from my father-in-law is not really a profitable business. I was even ready to apply for a camp leader position in Sovianok when Lena's distant relative died and left us a one-room apartment somewhere in central Russia. After a family council, we decided to move. We greeted the early 90s in a cramped kitchen in a Krushkovka, watching Swan Lake. Thanks to random side jobs I saved up some money, we decided to move to a bigger city, and of course, I chose my birthplace. We decided to sell the flat and use the money to invest in business. For some time, we lived in luxury, buying mink fur coats and expensive foreign cars, dining in restaurants and taking trips to other countries. Like many others during that time, I had the luck to somehow make it big, starting from the bottom. My business was construction material retail. It was a profitable market at the time because people made excessive money that they wanted to invest in luxurious homes. Maybe such a life could have gone on, but the 90s were called rakish for a reason. After encountering rackets and corruption, I was left with an empty refrigerator, an empty wallet, and the bitter taste of blood in my mouth. That was the time I tried to recall my man from the future status. Betting places that were impossible in the Soviet era popped up all over, and I rushed to gamble on everything I knew. However, I faced new disappointments as matches were won by completely different teams. Even the '94 World Cup champion wasn't Brazil. When I was watching the football on TV, everything went as it should, but whenever I spent the last of my money to make a bet, even underdogs began phenomenally beating favorites. As well as that, I tried to pursue a career of a political advisor. However, you don't get accepted into a high position like that without special connections or anything that would make people interested. I don't know how long I would have gone through this torment if not for an event which changed everything. Me and Lena had a child. In a hurry, I started to search for any possible way to earn enough to provide for my family. I remembered some of my father's old friends, and through them, by pretending to be a distant relative of myself, I gained a place as a junior data analyst in a bank. At the same time, I made a new attempt to obtain my degree, or to be precise, to finish it. Time passed slowly. The money was just enough to fill our stomachs. I almost lived at work for days, trying to find some time for my exams. Lena stayed at home with the baby. That was when I started writing. I remember it as if it was yesterday. It was just after midnight, and I was sitting in the kitchen in front of my old worn-out i386, wildly killing monsters in Doom 2. I wanted to sleep badly, but computer games at least slightly distracted me from the infinity of dull days. When I completed another level, I was suddenly immersed in thoughts about everything I'd gone through the last few years. It was all too much for one person. That's when I decided to write everything down that had happened to me. I launched the word processor and wrote down about 200 words with the clear intent of continuing it tomorrow. However, I didn't remember it tomorrow, nor even a week later. About a month later, Lena, who was typing something on the computer, reminded me of my unfinished book. I reread it and deleted it, terrified. At that moment, I started to doubt if I could ever do it. After all, it was an entire epic novel, and I wasn't even able to string two sentences together. In addition, it's not easy to write about yourself. Creative work put on the back burner for now. I celebrated the arrival of the year 2000 as a certified specialist with department head duties. While moving to another apartment, I found my old i386 among the trash that was to be thrown away, and I remembered my intention of writing a book about my life. I laughed. That's stupid. However, after some time, I opened my laptop and made sort of a draft of a short story about a young man without a definite occupation or aspiration to find himself on a different planet. The style, orthography, and punctuation, as well as the idea itself, were matched well to such a silly plot. I showed the story to my wife. She laughed but said that it was well written and advised me to continue. About a year later, the drawer designated for holding my literary works was full. I found that very odd because I was spending entire days at work, sometimes even during holidays, and I tried to spend all my available free time with the family. However, that's what happened. Around that time, I decided to publish my short stories. As with any other beginner's work, most of mine were rejected, but a couple of them were accepted, including my first work. I was over the moon. Of course, I was paid nothing, but my works will be read, meaning that someone will find them interesting. Time passed. Wait, a second, baby, now. During my spare time, I slowly wrote a novel. No, not about my life, or about the pioneer camp. I decided not to touch upon these themes ever again. Everything that happened years ago seemed to be the will of God, whose charity should not be tempted. Who can tell what would have happened if I hadn't woken up in a bus near the Soviet camp gates? A year later, the novel was completed. After I had annoyed almost all known publishers, I managed to reach an agreement with a small company. The editor, an elderly man wearing a ragged tweed jacket and thick spectacles, which almost rubbed against his magnificent grey mustache, told me,
"Your level is average, young man. Average, yes. But the idea itself is interesting. Interesting enough, yes. Well, you need more practice and more reading, yes."
I remembered these words for the rest of my life. I dispensed the copies that were sent to me as a part of my royalty agreement among my friends and colleagues. Lena, who read my novel only after it was published, told me that she really liked it. Mostly out of a desire to not upset me, I guess. Time passed. The calendar days were unstoppably approaching that day when I was pulled out of my usual world and thrown into this life. Starting from the mysterious pioneer camp, now ending up here. Now I am a successful writer, at least according to the number of copies my books have sold. I have a wonderful wife, 2 children. My life has turned 180 degrees. Midnight tonight is the start of something new. Tomorrow is the day that I was awaiting for so many years. So...
What are you thinking about?
I opened my eyes and saw Lena. She put a cup of tea on the table near an armchair. Firewood was gently crackling in the fireplace and a snowstorm was roaring outside. I wrapped myself up in a plaid blanket and I think my cat jumped out of the cat tree, yes he did, and looked at Lena. Do you know what day it is?
No, what day?
Do you remember what I told you back there in the camp?
No.
No wonder, during all these years, I'd never brought up the topic of my mysterious arrival in this world. Do you remember how I told you that I'm not from this world? Lena paused.
Well, something like that, yes.
So today is that day when many years ago, I got on the 410 bus and woke up at that pioneer camp.
So it's an anniversary?
Lena smiled. Yes, sort of.
Is it a sad celebration for you?
Not at all.
I remember almost nothing about that time.
Maybe it's for the best. I added some firewood to the fire and took the mug from the table. Maybe I'll write a novel. You'll read it and remember.
Do you think that's a good idea?
Lena's expression became serious. Indeed, once I promised myself that I would never write about it, maybe it's not. After all, everything that happened is just for us.
That's exactly what I think.
I sighed and looked at the fire. You know, life is like a candle. Someone's got a short one, someone's got a long one, and it can burn out at any time.
And your life is like this fireplace.
Yes, perhaps. I looked at her and smiled. I'll sleep for a while longer. Lena kissed me and fixed her gaze on the fire in a dreamy manner. My eyes closed and my whole reality compressed itself down to the crackling of the firewood. I started falling slowly somewhere far away. No, it was not a dream, more like warm ether, gently enveloping my entire existence. That was very different. Living the dream. That was very different. That was like... Yeah. That was... Yeah, that was much different from the other endings. I wasn't expecting anything to do with Lena's endings, to be honest. Like, any of Lena's endings. I thought he was just gonna wake up. Like he did in Lena's first ending, but... Yeah, that was a wild fucking ride, holy shit, but... I mean, let me know the next one to do, and I'll do it. So remember to like, subscribe, comment, click on the notification button. I'll see all of you beautiful people in the next video. Bye bye.